Plays and Minutes. The Blitz.
It is the Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. Hope your Tuesday's been a little bit better than mine. Nothing like waking up, realizing you've got a water heater that is leaking. That'll kind of throw out your day. Although I called Quarter Moon Plumbing, they called them this morning about, 9:30, 10 o'clock. They were out here at 2. Everything's already fixed. All good to go. And but again, though, I'm in a new house. I shouldn't have these kind of problems, right? It's just kind of how it goes. But at least it got taken care of.
They don't make them like they used to.
My night's gonna get better because we're doing Worst Fest tonight. Yeah,
that's awesome.
So here's the pro tip. Go during the week. I was talking to Rudy J about this earlier today. He's like, "Why are you going on a Tuesday?" It's like, because there's no lines and there's no entry fee. So you go on Saturday, you got to pay to go get $7 beers. You go tonight, you just walk right in to get your $7 beers. And then, of course, your pork chop on a stick. And I'm not going to wait in line for an hour and a half to get my pork chop on a stick.
Also, don't go on a Thursday. That's college night.
Well, it depends on your mindset. But you're right. Yeah. You couldn't pay me to go to Worst Fest on a Thursday night. When did I get old?
Apparently recently.
I mean, honestly, although I've known even back in our New Braunfels radio days, when you and I used to work together at 92.1. Now, granted, we might have had radio responsibilities there every damn day at Worst Fest, from the opening biting of the sausage until, it was time to take out the trash the 10 days later, right? I mean, we used to do it all up there. But I learned way back in the late 90s, Tuesday is the best night to go. I mean, for one, it's Chamber of Commerce night in New Braunfels. So they bring out the extra good food, right? Because they know all the movers and shakers in New Braunfels, all 3 of them, they're going to be out there, right?
They don't move or shake very much. Maybe a little bit of shaking.
Yeah. I mean, but again, though, I mean, it's just it's a nice, comfortable evening. I was talking about this with a friend of mine who called me a little concerned for me and or my daughter, or maybe both, with everything that happened in Houston with the Travis Scott deal. And that's just tragic and scary. But as a concert goer, as a festival goer, my daughter would have been right down there trying to get to the rail. Me, I don't want to be in the pit or standing room, and haven't for a long time. I don't want to be that crowded. And I'm all of 5'7", so it never fails. If I'm at Green Hall or Floors Country Store, where that is your only option, I'm standing behind the guy that's 6'3". It never fails. So if I'm at a big show like that, I want seats kind of close, but off to the side, but far enough back, like 2 or 3 sections from the stage, so you can see everything on the stage. But I've got my own seat and my personal space, and if the guy in front of me stands up, I can stand up, and I'm still going to be able to have a clear shot, unless of course he's 7'2". And I don't know when that changed for me, but it did a long time ago. Big crowds like that, I want to avoid those things if at all possible. I mean, there is just something about that is just it's just not fun anymore.
Well, logistically, it makes sense in terms of not waiting in lines for beer, not waiting in lines for food. I mean, those are things that, I wouldn't want to do that either. The only part of the big crowd is usually when you're young and single.
Well, I mean, there's that, the old married guy, but then again, that's why, you're old and single, but yet you'll still show up there on a Thursday night for college night because, you look and act like you're 26. And then you start talking to a girl that's 22, and then you start talking about your high school days, and you realize you're old enough to be her dad. Unless she has daddy issues, no, Pledge, you've crossed the line to where you could be in a bar talking to somebody young enough to be your kid. And unless she has daddy issues, you're out.
I mean, That's probably true.
It's happened to you. It's happened to you. I'm not going to tell the story of the last one, but my goodness, I mean, I'm sitting there talking to that girl, realizing she went to high school with my daughter, and you're trying to take her home. And I was thinking, man, what is wrong with this picture? She had no idea that you were 40. None. But she was very nice, very sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. You know what I'm talking. Worst Fest is going to be fun tonight. I can't wait. I mean, pork chop on a stick. Cause I mean, last year, is that when you're going? You're going Thursday?
Probably.
Jesus.
I don't know what you want from me or expected from me, but
well, want is one thing. Expected, yeah, I would expect you to be there on a Thursday. I mean, and the other part of going on Saturday or Sunday, and it's one of the things that I mean, Worst Fest is wonderful. It really is. But the reality is, I don't want to go on a Saturday or Sunday because there's football on. And this Saturday, I'm going to go tailgate, trying to figure out what time we're going to get down to the UTSA tailgating, but probably somewhere around noonish. And the game kicks off at 2:30. And I know a lot of people tonight are going to be upset when the college football playoff rankings get announced and UTSA is either not ranked or not ranked high enough. Because I don't think UTSA fan is going to be happy right now that they're one of 4 undefeated teams in the country. So no matter where, no matter where the committee puts them, I think people are going to be upset. And I look at that now, you're channeling your anger in the wrong spot. I mean, if you want just from a respect factor to open up that poll and see UTSA amongst all the big boys, all the schools that we've all heard of, I get that. But keep paying attention to the AP poll. That's the one that really matters for UTSA right now. Because in that poll, if UTSA runs the table, they finish undefeated, they win Conference USA, and they're the highest ranked group of 5 school, they'll go to one of those New Year's Six bowls. I mean, if you look at the projections today, they're predicted in the USA Today to go to the New Orleans Bowl. Now, I'd be down with that. I mean, it's a hell of a lot better than Albuquerque. It's a lot better than Dallas. At least the travel will be good, and a lot of San Antonians will take off and head down to New Orleans for a great party weekend, and then you look at the bowl matchup. And according to USA Today's projection for today, they would be playing Coastal Carolina. I think that'd be a fun game matching up 2 up-and-coming programs because Cincinnati is still going to be in play, and Cincinnati could end up with that New Year's Six bowl. But the way Cincinnati's been playing, don't you kind of figure they're about to drop one? And it's partly UTSA's strength of schedule, partly Conference USA's reputation. So I haven't been, and I've had a couple of my friends say, dude, man, why aren't you getting that? Because that playoff poll does not matter except put your name on a list. But there's nothing UTSA could do this year that would get them invited to the college football playoff while they still have only 4 teams. Even if they expand it to 8 or 12, I don't know that UTSA would get invited to that party. That party isn't for UTSA. It's for the Power 5 schools. And they let the group of 5, the Conference USAs and the Americans and the Sunbelts, they pretend they've got a seat at the table, but in reality, they're not even at the kids' table in the same room. And that's the way the Power 5 wants it. I've said many times, there needs to be 2 different playoffs. There needs to be the Power 5 playoff and then the Group of 5 playoff. And the payoff would not be the same, and that's understandable, but there would still be money involved. And if there was a playoff system for, say, Division II, in this way, think about in high school football. This weekend, the playoffs get started. You look at every classification. There's 6A Division I and 6A Division II. There will be 2 6A state champions from the state of Texas. There has been for years. Why couldn't you do the same for for the Power Fives and then the Group of Five. All right. I mean, do that. Make 2 different playoffs, because at least then you would look at UTSA with a chance. You look at Trinity in Division III. They've got a chance to go to the postseason. UIW in FCS or Division II, they've got a chance to win the Southland after that big win last week over Southeastern Louisiana, and they could end up in the playoffs. UTSA, no matter what they do, they can go undefeated, and they could win the rest of their games 100-0, and they still wouldn't get an invite to be one of those top 4 teams. I'm not going to lose sleep or stress over stuff that just doesn't matter. Look at that AP ranking. Look at where, excuse me, where UTSA could end up going bowling and get the best possible bowl that's good travel for all of us. That's what I would look at. But again, the rankings do come out here just after 6 o'clock. So, we'll react to it accordingly with the appropriate anger when UTSA isn't where we all think UTSA needs to be when that comes out here in just a little bit. Speaking of appropriate anger, dude, it's hard to be a Bears fan. As a Cowboy fan who's gone through this for years, they just find ways to break your heart. And it's not like the Steelers have been all that much better. But last night, good Lord, for a Monday night game, and I'm guilty of this. Were the Manning brothers on last night?
I didn't see that telecast if it was.
Okay, I didn't even go look. I mean, after we get off the air, I go for a walk, come back, fire up the grill, just burgers last night. It was easy. And my mother called. And so I was on the phone with my mother, I don't know, about an hour. It was my mom has decided that we're doing Thanksgiving at her house. And since my dad passed away, this is the first step towards going and living life. And so mom decided, I don't know when, because after I got off the phone with my mother, my brother called and was like, "Hey, you hear from mom?" I say, "Yep." So my mother has decided Thanksgiving at her house, putting up Christmas stuff, do the whole turkey, the whole thing, make sure you book a flight for your kid and all that. So I was on the phone last night, and I never flipped over to even go find the Manning cast, but I wasn't really listening to the game, but I was watching it because a 5-minute phone call with my mother takes an hour and a half. So you look at so I didn't get to listen to a lot of the game, but I was watching the game. And I sit there and the Bears are just bad. But then they start playing good. And Justin Fields all of a sudden looks like, man, they're going to rally and beat the Steelers. Now, I was in a very tight fantasy game, so I was watching 2 players, and they both play for the Steelers. I ended up winning my game by 5, right? Because I have Najee Harris, who did get into the end zone last night. That was kind of the difference in the game. But here I'm thinking, well, if the Bears score here, they're going to be throwing the ball, and the guy I'm playing, Evan Klowski, he's got a Pittsburgh wide receiver. This might not be good. And then there's this weird penalty. Now, mind you, I don't have the volume on, right? I'm just watching what is happening. And so there's a sack, there's a celebration, there's a Cobra Kai type kick, and then I see the referee hip check a Bears player and throw a flag. And so I'm thinking to myself, and again, I don't have the audio on. The TV is on mute. I'm like, did they really just call the penalty for contacting the official when it was clear Tony Corinthi initiated the contact? Well, apparently he threw the flag for the taunt, which happened prior to. And if you go back and you watch the video, it probably was taunting based on the way we know the rules today. He does the Cobra Kai karate kick thing, which I'm worried about. Dude, don't do that. Your hamstrings are too valuable. You land wrong and blow out your knee, and that would be bad. But he's celebrating with his teammates, and all his teammates leave, and he's still out there, and he is clearly saying something to the Pittsburgh Steelers bench. And then he finally turns and runs, gets hip checked by the referee, who then throws the flag, which makes it look like he threw the flag because he made contact with the player. But apparently it was from the taunting earlier. It just took him a while to get to his flag, apparently. I don't know. Cassius Marsh was the guilty player. He's not happy, obviously, because kind of feels like he cost his team a win on a bogus call. Although I don't know that it was bogus. Based on what we know how the NFL is calling taunting, you sit there and stare down the other team's bench. As long as he did, you're going to draw the flag. Yet, if you recover a fumble and you run down to the end zone with all your teammates and pose for pictures in front of no cameraman, that's not taunting. You understand where the taunting came from, how it started, and, the emphasis this year on taunting is because the coaches on the committee decided, hey, man, we're worried about fights. Things are getting out of control. We need to get this under control. And what I don't know is, did he say anything? Did he use one of the buzzwords that you're not allowed to say, which is certainly possible? But it was just a weird deal. And then, of course, the referee in question might be one of the worst referees right now working in the NFL. And the fact that we watch game after game after game, and there are so many calls that just seem ridiculous. They have a hard job, referees do, at every level. And for the most part, especially in college football and big-time college football and at the NFL, those guys get it right. They do get it right most of the time. And I don't know if I should be mad at the official for calling it, or if I should be mad at the NFL for putting in such a rule that is just so clearly based on a referee's opinion. Did that cross the line and warrant 15 yards? Because what I saw, based on the letter of the law, this deep into the season, they're going to call that. You see this Marsh kid get over to the sideline, and he's got a coach ripping his ass to no end, because that coach knows this deep into the season, that point of the game, you have to keep your head. You have to know better. What I want to know is kind of like what Marsh said. But what about the referee initiating contact?
I think it's pretty clear to everybody who saw it that I wasn't taunting.
You were.
And, I've been doing the celebration my whole career, and, it's just sad to see stuff like that happen in a close game like that. It's just rough, man. I don't want to say too much because y'all know how it is, but the one thing that I will say is, on my way to the sideline, I got hip checked by the ref.
Yep.
And it's pretty clear. If I were to do that to a ref or even touch the ref, we get kicked out of the game and possibly suspended and fined. So I just think that was incredibly inappropriate.
It was.
And that's all I'll say about that.
Yeah, that's all you need to say. Stop there and let the NFL. I'm curious if the NFL is going to announce a fine or suspension for contacting a player. And what man in his right mind is going to initiate contact with an NFL defensive lineman? I mean, you realize how big that guy is? I mean, you might put your own hip out there to make contact with him, but you're the referee. You're probably going to end up getting hurt, right? I mean, that made zero sense. But a lot of the calls have not made a lot of sense. What I find interesting is so many of the coaches, so many of the general managers, so many of the owners, when asked about it, at least publicly, aren't criticizing the officials because they put the taunting in for a reason. And this late in the season, unless you were a Bears fan or had money on the game, when you saw that flag, you didn't say, that's a BS taunting call. Once you realized it was for the taunting, for the stare down of the Steelers bench, not for the contact of the official, not for the Cobra Kai kick, and even his teammates had already left him. I mean, they were all celebrating, woo, and then his teammates left and went to the bench, and he's still staring down the bench. By the letter of the law, that's taunting. But it also raises so many questions when you've got questionable calls like that, judgment calls late in a game that could factor in deciding the game. Now, I don't know that the Steelers still don't win that game, whether that penalty happens or not. I know it kept the drive alive, and they got a field goal. And I know the Bears went and took the lead. And I know the Steelers, well, they came right back and they regained the lead. And then I know the Bears lined up to kick a field goal that never hit the crossbar, Steve Levy. Didn't even come close, Steve Levy. But they still had an opportunity late. And just another weird, bad loss for Nagy and the Chicago Bears. It's just bizarre. It is the Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. Aaron Rodgers is speaking again. Aaron Rodgers is doing well from COVID. Feels like he's on the other side of it. Aaron Rodgers went on Pat McAfee again today. Remember, he went on Pat the other day, said some things, and man, a lot of people got mad. A lot of people very upset with Aaron Rodgers. Different tone from Aaron Rodgers on Pat McAfee today.
I'm feeling really good. I'm definitely fortunate to have the type of care that I've been able to have. I know it's special and it's helped me get through this better. Also know that it hasn't been like that for everybody. I know this isn't a difficult time for so many people dealing with COVID, and it's been a tough 2 years for a lot of people. This has definitely been a time of a lot of reflection. I've had time to think about a lot of things in my silence here, my quarantine inside. I'm obviously in Green Bay, not in LA as was reported. I have been at my house for my quarantine. Look, jokes aside, I understand that people are suffering, and this has been a really difficult time for the last 2 years on so many people. I think we all know individuals who've lost their lives personally, people who've lost their businesses, their livelihoods, their way of life has been altered completely. And I empathize with those things. And I also know how sports can be such a connector and bring people together in times of adversity. And I do realize that I am a role model to a lot of people. And so I just want to start off this show by acknowledging that, I made some comments that people might have felt were misleading. And, to anybody who felt misled by those comments, I take full responsibility for those comments.
Is that an apology for misleading people? I mean, he didn't really apologize for misleading people or lying to people, but he does take full responsibility to those who felt like he misled them. I don't know. I know that last Friday he was very outspoken on the subject. Today he talked about his own experiences, some of the people that he's talked to that have gone through COVID, but he doesn't want to continue. And here's the problem with COVID, because it has gotten very political. One side says you're a champion. The other side says the cancel culture. Aaron Rodgers is a spokesperson for a whole lot of people. Sounds like he might have heard from some of those people, because a very different tone from Aaron Rodgers today, who no longer wants to talk about COVID.
That is, Pat. I'm an athlete. I'm not an activist. So I'm going to get back to doing what I do best. And that's playing ball. Like, I shared my opinion. It wasn't one that was come to frivolously. It involved a lot of study and what I felt like was in my best interest for my body. But further comments, I'm going to keep between myself and my doctors, and I don't have any further comments about any of those things. after this interview.
Yeah, I'm not talking about COVID anymore. I'm not going there. Forget that I mean, I'm just not going to do what I've said the other. And if I misled you, I take full responsibility for that. He's feeling better. We'll see if he's going to be able to play this coming week. Speaking of COVID, Cowboys need a kicker for Sunday's game against the Atlanta Falcons. Greg Zerline has gone on the COVID list. Greg the leg. We'll talk about that. More Cowboys talk as we continue. Jerry was on 105.3 The Fan up in Dallas today. You concerned about what you saw from the Cowboys, or was that just a weird outlier game? Happens to everybody. You know, one game a year, you get a total clunker and you just move on. Or did Denver really provide a blueprint? We'll talk about that coming up as we continue here on the Blitz. If you're shopping for a new vehicle, you need to get in and see my friends over at Ancira Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram Truck. It's part of the Ancira Untitled Complex. Very easy for me to tell you about and recommend Ancira because I am a long-time Ancira customer, and it's because of their great customer service before, during, and most importantly, after the sale. When you start the car buying process, they are going to make sure you're getting the vehicle you want with the options and features that you're looking for. They will give you great value on your trade-in, the best rebates and financing options that are available, and their service after the sale is second to none. And you know price made Ancira number one. Price keeps Ancira number one. So think Ancira. Ancira Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram Truck, part of the Ancira Untitled Complex on I-10 West between Wurzbach and Huebner. 426, let's get a Sports Center update from James Pledger.
Thanks a lot, Jason. As you mentioned, the Cowboys are looking to get back on track this week after flying to Denver over the weekend, but they may have to do it without kicker Greg Zerline, who has been placed on the reserve COVID-19 list today. He'll need to test negative twice, 24 hours apart, to return in time for the game. The Cowboys are reportedly going to be working out kickers tomorrow. In college football, Texas Longhorns running back Bijan Robertson suffered a stinger in the Horns' 30-7 loss to Iowa State over the weekend, but his x-rays came back negative. The Longhorns are losing wide receiver Joshua Moore, who has entered the transfer portal and left the team. Last week, there was a reported disagreement between Moore and head coach Steve Sarkisian at practice, as Moore started 5 of 9 games this season and recorded 265 yards on 24 catches with 3 touchdowns this season. The college basketball season tips off tonight as the Texas State Bobcats open things up here in San Antonio as they take on the Incarnate Word Cardinals with tip-off set for 6:30. UTSA opens up this season at home in the Convocation Center as they take on crosstown Trinity Tigers at 7:30. The Texas Tech Bears open up the Mark Adams tenure as he replaced Chris Beard as Tech welcomes North Florida into Lubbock for a 7 o'clock tip. And speaking of Chris Beard, the 5th-ranked Longhorns take on Houston Baptist in the Frank Irwin Center at 8 o'clock. I'm James Pledger.
ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
From city streets to back roads, from road warrior to carpooler, there are some things you can always count on, like the reliability, durability, and power of Die Hard, America's most trusted auto battery. No matter where your journey takes you, count on Die Hard to get you started on the road ahead. Available at your local Advance Auto Parts and participating CarQuest stores.
An accident with a company car, truck, SUV, van, or fleet vehicle is not just another car accident. Thomas J. Henry handles serious company vehicle accident cases and gets serious results for injured clients. Visit tjhlaw.com/radio. San Antonio, Texas.
You can talk keto all you want, but if you don't have a team of great tasting snacks behind you, you're not going to win the diet marathon. Southern Recipe small batch pork rinds have these big, bold flavors that kick your taste buds into high gear. Korean kimchi barbecue, pasilla chili cheese, spicy dill, and more. Eat them right out of the bag or try them in your favorite recipes. You'll love this snack. Visit your local HEB and southernrecipesmallbatch.com to see the power of the rinds.
Southern Recipe pork rinds. At Manrique Custom Vision, you'll find some people just aren't good candidates for Z-LASIK. That's why they have different technologies for different patients. They are a custom vision center focused on helping people get rid of their glasses and contacts. Rudy J here. Call them today for a complimentary consultation to see what's right for you. Financing is offered to all FSA and medical spending accounts accepted. Get treated like family by Dr. Manrique. Call 354-2020 for the Manrique difference. That's 354-2020.
Finding the right Medicare plan may feel impossible, but now it's anything but. With Walgreens Find RX coverage tool, you can compare plans online, over the phone, or in person, making Medicare easier than ever. Easier than picking which true crime doc to watch, figuring out that Wi-Fi password, or putting the duvet cover back on. So if you can do those things, with Find RX coverage, you can definitely Medicare. Find the plan that's right for you by visiting walgreens.com/Medicare.
Whether you're vaccinated or not, it's important to know the symptoms of COVID and its variants. Fever is the leading sign, and only the Exergen temporal scanner thermometer has been proven accurate with more than 100 clinical studies. Non-contact thermometers have no clinical evidence behind them and cannot be relied on. Be vigilant and seek medical advice at the first sign of fever. Be accurate with Exergen. Learn more at exergen.com.
Tune in to the Blitz today for the ESPN San Antonio Injury Update, powered by the Sports Institute at TSAOG Orthopedics. Catch up on the latest injuries and how it'll affect your team. The Sports Institute at TSAOG Orthopedics, online at tsaog.com.
Here in Texas, the heat is relentless. The storms are serious. The hail is insane. Texas weather doesn't do anything halfway, and neither should your roofer. Your roof protects your home and your family. So whether you need a simple repair or a roof replacement, metal or composition, you need a roofer you can trust. That's Stevens Roofing. They are reputable, reliable, and have always been your local roofer. Call Stevens Roofing today for a free estimate at 210-785-0994 or go to stevensroofing.net.
It's that time of year again when Smoky Mo's Barbecue is gearing up to smoke Thanksgiving turkeys for our neighbors in the San Antonio area. Each turkey will be made using our secret rub and smoked to perfection in-house. You can buy it solo or with our feast that includes sweet potato casserole, cornbread dressing, green bean casserole, and a delicious pumpkin pie from Tootie Pies. Pre-order at SmokyMo'sBarbecue.com or by calling your store. Don't dawdle. We sell out every year. Happy Smoked Turkey Day, y'all, from Smoky Mo's Barbecue.
This is The Blitz with Jason Minix and the brightest sports insiders. San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
You know, the Dallas Cowboys got their butts kicked on Sunday against the Denver Broncos. Heading into Atlanta, a couple of things that you're going to watch this week on the injury report are Zeke's knee and Tyron Smith. But now you've got kicker issues, especially if you have Greg Zerline on your fantasy team. He's in the protocols. That means the Cowboys, they, according to reports, are going to bring in Brett Mahar and that dude who was there in August, Liram Howard, blah, 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 blah. Apparently that dude is coming in to work out. How do you say his name, Pledge?
Liram Hajralu.
See, here's the thing, man. I know I can't say it. You think you're trying to say it right. I mean, it's like 97. OC, whatchamacallits. I know
Odigizua.
Yeah, Odigizua. I got to look at it and think about it. But I know I'm going to get it wrong. So he's just 97. Liram, I can't wait for Brad Sham to have to try to say that on Sunday.
Liram Hajralu. Yeah.
Yeah. That's not what you said earlier.
Well, I had to look at it.
Oh, yeah, you had to look at it. I mean, you know, you look at it and you go, here we go. And again, with all the stuff going on with COVID, and I'm getting my booster shot tomorrow morning, by the way. Although Michael Jimenez got his yesterday, it said he's really sore today.
Did you plan an appointment or are you just showing up?
I've got an appointment.
Same place or?
No, I'm doing it at my wife's hospital. Because they're doing. I guess I could go down to the Wonderland of America's Mall like I did last time.
I think I'm going to do that tomorrow.
At the I don't know. I mean, and it's weird now because like a couple of weeks ago, her hospital where she's a nurse said, you want to schedule in for your families and all that. Here's when you can start getting on the list. So we signed up right away. And it's weird because on this one, on the booster, and if you guys, they say it doesn't matter if you're getting the booster from Pfizer or Moderna, right? And if you got Johnson & Johnson, just get anything else in your system. But, I had Pfizer my first 2 shots. I don't know if I show up tomorrow and they give me Moderna.
You're going to grow a tail.
Well, I might. I mean, I was hoping for the 3rd nipple when I got the first shot. That never happened, so maybe now. But I mean, you look at it. I know they say it doesn't matter, and I've trusted them to this point. But it just, to me, seems a little odd that now I can mix.
It's like wearing Nikes and Reeboks together. You can't.
Well, I mean, you can.
You don't cross the streams.
So you put it like that.
Now you're gonna think about it.
But if I show up tomorrow, it's not like I'm gonna leave. And what I really want to do is no, dude. I mean, I have shot anxiety, right?
All the more reason to leave if it's not the right one.
Well, they say it's okay.
Okay.
I mean, I defer all my medical stuff. If my wife says give it to you, I'll take it. Right? I will not take medicine without my wife's knowledge.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, she's been a nurse for damn near 30 years. You can almost pronounce a drug right like the kicker's name, and she's going to tell you what it is and what it's for. I mean, you know what I mean? If she says it's okay, if the hospital says it's okay, I'm not going to argue, right? I know my lane, right? But I still don't like getting shots. I have shot anxiety. So tonight, probably won't sleep well. Tomorrow, driving over there, probably will be a little nervous going over there. I probably will say some words I shouldn't say when they get close to me. And if there is a kid screaming, I'm probably going to scream with them because no kid should scream alone. It's kind of like if I see somebody throw up, I'm going to throw up with you. Nobody should throw up alone. So yeah, I'm ready. I'll do it. Man up, get the shot. But I'm never excited about going to get a shot. Not that anybody's excited about going to get a shot. Don't get me wrong. I understand that. I just have a great fear. Shots and snakes are right up there about the same level.
Oh, I get the snake thing. I don't get the shot thing.
It's a long story.
Is there a lot of blood involved?
There was a lot of blood involved. There was a hurricane involved, and there was surgery to get the needle out of my arm.
Yep. Kind of figured as much.
And I have not been comfortable getting a shot since. The quick version, we were doing rescue and relief during Hurricane Andrew. And one of the things we were doing on a ship in the middle of a hurricane. Now, mind you, I was on a big ship, and we were rocking and rolling like we were on a little nothing boat. Giving blood. Needle's in my arm. Ship takes a big roll. Needle breaks out in my arm. Blood is squirting all the way across the room onto the wall. And then they had to, get it to stop bleeding, but then dig in there to get the needle out of my arm. Haven't been a shot guy since.
Don't know why this would give you PTSD.
I'm just saying, it's real. It is real. But tomorrow morning, 8:30, if you're bored tomorrow, my appointment's at 8:30, and then I got to sit there for 15 minutes doing nothing. So,
yeah, that's
you're
the
up
worst
early
part.
To sit and wait to make sure you don't have some sort of reaction.
Yeah, mainly it's the sitting and waiting thing.
Yeah. Well, you're not a sit and wait kind of guy to begin with. So,
exactly.
I could see where that would be an issue. The Cowboys owner isn't a sit and wait kind of guy either. But listening to him today on 105.3 The Fan, Jerry Jones trying to explain the loss. And I do appreciate this about Jerry, about Dak on Sunday after the game. Mike McCarthy, Sunday, Monday. There has not been one Cowboy that I've heard that has tried to make any kind of excuse for what happened on Sunday. They flat out got their butts kicked, and they're owning that. And as a fan of the Dallas Cowboys, I appreciate that. Jerry Jones on 105.3 The Fan. This man has owned the team for 3 decades and said, man, I've never seen a team come out that flat.
And one of the things he does, I think, is manages his practices very well. And I think he manages the wear and tear on the players. And so I think that's worth noting at this particular time because you say, well, how do you get a team ready? Well, we thought we were ready. And he thought we were ready. And our coaching staff, our players thought we were ready. We weren't. And that's as flat as any team that I've seen.
Wow.
And we've got to get back. We had a home field advantage. We let our home crowd not get in the game the way you expect home crowd to do. And then we basically played what seemed to be lackadaisical. It just keep feeding on itself. I really don't think that was reflected to be worth noting as to how we practiced last week.
You know, you look at the Cowboys in that game, and you look at the final stats of that game. Season low in nearly every offensive category. They were dominated. And keep in mind, those 2 scoring drives late, down 30, they get 145 yards and still set season lows with garbage time. I mean, they didn't have the number of plays. They're for 3.5 quarters, they were just flat dominated. Copycat league. We know what Vic Fangio has said at this point. You know how Mike McCarthy has responded to it. This is going to be on Kellen Moore, who last week was being talked about for the head coaching job at TCU. Kellen Moore has got to come up with something, but I do think it could be, quite frankly, just an off day. It started with the offensive line having some issues. They didn't pick up that 4th down, and as much as a 4th down can energize your team, it can also demoralize your team, energize the other team for getting a stop. However you want to look at it, it was a wake-up call. And it's interesting because some players after the game said, yeah, we needed this. Mike McCarthy said, no, we didn't need this. I don't believe in wake-up calls. I thought it was interesting that when Jerry Jones was asked that this morning on 105.3 The Fan, he talked about not necessarily team needing a wake-up call, but there's a lot of individual players who certainly need wake-up call type games.
I believe strongly you can have wake-up calls, and I believe the discipline is to sit there and have those talks in the mirror with yourself before you get on the field, so to speak, or before you get into it. This old sitting on the side of the bed with your head in your hands and moaning and complaining after you've screwed it up doesn't get it done for anybody. So I do believe they're wake-up calls. You have to have them, though, before you're going out, not after you get back.
And again, from an individual standpoint, there are players who have to look themselves in the mirror for their poor play. I think you look at Dak Prescott. He did not have a sharp game, did not look good. Amari Cooper had a drop. First drop of the season was on a big 3rd down. Terrence Steele on the offensive line certainly could be an issue. I mean, you just look at it and you go, man, it was bad all the way around. I mean, everybody as a collective group played poorly. And, energy can be contagious, but so can bad play. And then you get guys that start to press. And I do think there was some of that. Late in the game, there was no chance the Cowboys were coming back. They got 2 touchdowns late. Dak's still in the game for whatever reason. Well, Dak isn't going to pull himself out. You know that. Risk reward, I mean, he didn't get hurt, so we're not going to complain about it. It's like Mike McCarthy's bad time management. They won the game, so let's not talk too much about what happened in San Diego, or let's not talk about what happened in this game or that game, because when you win or a player doesn't get hurt, you just kind of gloss those things over. I kind of feel like now that we're a couple days removed, I just wonder if Mike McCarthy left him in there for the pure reason that if you've got a shooter in a shooting slump, let him shoot in basketball. Eventually, he needs to see it go in. Eventually, Dak Prescott needed to see some good completed passes to try to carry that over in the next week's game against Atlanta. It was a weird outlier kind of game in an NFL weekend where there were a lot of weird outlier type of games. Everybody gets a stinker. I mean, Buffalo had one. They're projected to go to the Super Bowl. You look at the Tennessee Titans. Pledge, correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't they lose to the New York Jets?
They did.
The Tennessee Titans have lost to the New York Jets. So I mean, when you look at it, and I did find it interesting. Jerry said, "Well, I didn't think we'd go undefeated." Well, neither did we, but we didn't think a loss was going to be against the Denver Broncos, and that's the beauty of the National Football League. You never know when it's actually going to happen. But, all the good teams this year, with the exception of Arizona at 8-1 right now, they've got kind of a weird bad loss. You look at what the Rams have done. I mean, they've got some quality wins, but, look how badly they lost to the Tennessee Titans. Dallas, Baltimore. And Baltimore's had some interesting games. Green Bay, Buffalo, Kansas City. I mean, I don't know what to make of Kansas City at this point. And I look at New England. New England is looking more and more like a good quality win for the Dallas Cowboys as they continue to make their push. It's going to be interesting to see what happens this week when the Cowboys take on the Atlanta Falcons. I am concerned about the defense and that rush defense. If they don't get takeaways, how bad could it be for the defense? Jerry was asked about his concern with that Dallas Cowboys defense.
Coaches take a lot of pride and say, if we come in and they're doing this, we'll go do that. If they come in and they're loading it up over here, then we'll have this available to us. A lot of times you hear me say that's a lot of talk. Sometimes it doesn't actually take place. You don't make those adjustments. But I think that we had to get them out of what they came out playing. We anticipated. I went over carefully with with Mike before the game, and what they came out doing, we anticipated completely. We just didn't anticipate them having that kind of success. They stayed in it.
Yeah, that's kind of scary, isn't it? Jared going over the game plan intently. No surprises. We were just surprised how good they were. Were they that good, or were you guys just that bad? Cowboys in Atlanta. We'll talk some more Cowboys football coming up at 5:30 when the great Charean Williams joins us. She's with Pro Football Talk. Charean Williams at 5:30 here on the Blitz. Hey, you guys need to go to alamowatersofteners.com. Schedule an appointment to have one of their whole home specialists come out to your house for a free water analysis and get a customized plan for your family and home. Because right now, Alamo Water Softeners is offering 0% financing for 2 years with approved credit. Take advantage of this same as cash offer on a water treatment bundle with special pricing and give your home the highest quality water treatment available. Get a free standard gas or electric water heater when you purchase a select top-of-the-line water softener, a +1 filter, and a reverse osmosis system while supplies last. Now's the time to take advantage of bundle pricing and 0% interest for 2 years with approved credit. Do like I've done. Discover the Alamo Water Softeners difference. Go to alamowatersofteners.com. That's alamowatersofteners.com.
Hit it! The Dallas Cowboys, the Atlanta Falcons. This one will be a pad pounder. Get the call live Sunday at noon. Sponsored by AA Best Bail Bonds and Ewald Kubota, San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
There's never any FOMO with the iHeartRadio app. You won't ever have to miss out on your favorite shows and contests with this radio station again. Radio 24/7, 365. We're here when you want us. Stay connected and listen anywhere when you download the free iHeartRadio app.
When you're sick, injured, or experiencing a medical problem of any kind, the last thing you want to do is leave your home to find medical care. Now, thanks to Dispatch Health, you don't have to, because Dispatch Health comes to you. That's right. Receive high-quality care from expertly trained medical professionals in the comfort of your own home when you need it. Just call or click, and Dispatch Health comes to your home, able to treat common to complex illnesses and injuries. It's really that simple. Go to dispatchhealth.com now to learn more and download the app so you're always just the touch of a button away from the quality health care you need. Dispatch Health is affordable and in-network with most health insurance plans, including Medicare. It's true, high-quality care from expertly trained medical professionals in the ease and comfort of your own home, all for an affordable price. So the next time you're sick or injured, stay home, stay comfortable, and let Dispatch Health come to you. Go to dispatchhealth.com and say hello to the modern-day house call. That's dispatchhealth.com. Go to dispatchhealth.com.
Get Diamonds Direct's unbeatable price, plus an extra 20% off virtually everything. Yes! It's happening next weekend, November 19th through 21st. 3 days of spectacular store-wide savings. All rings, all earrings, all pendants, all bracelets, all on sale. This is the biggest and last sale of the year. The one where they break all the rules. The selection is like double the norm. Designers are here with their entire line, all at the absolute lowest prices of the year, plus special financing. Next weekend. Details at diamondsdirect.com. At the shops at La Cantera.
The annual San Antonio Auto and Truck Show is November 12th through the 14th. See new cars and trucks, extraordinary exotics, and learn about the latest in energy efficiency. Take part in exclusive ride-and drives, all new experiences, kids activities, and the food truck fiesta. Don't miss it.
Jason Minix here for Garageanization. You've heard me tell you about their shelving, overhead racks, and storage systems to make your garage functional for the entire family. If you have issues with your garage, call 210-664-4494. Have them come out and give you a free consultation. Garageanization couldn't be a better choice. A veteran family-owned and operated business for more than a decade. Give them a call at 210-664-4494 or go to the website garageorganizationsanantonio.com. Rock the Mic is back at Slacker Sports and Arcade Bar. You know we've narrowed it down to our top 13. You've been voting online at sasportstar.com, and they're ready to show you what they've got. Join us at Slackers this week to help us decide on a winner, and you can enter to win Dallas Cowboys home game tickets. Wednesday, November 10th, we'll be at the Slackers new St. Mary's location, and on Thursday, we'll be at the Slackers Medical Center location. Rock the Mic 2021, brought to you by Slacker Sports and Arcade Bar and in part by Jim Beam.
We've got your free tickets to see every Dallas Cowboys home game all season long. Register to win now at sasportstar.com. Cheer on America's team on your home for Cowboys football. San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Hey, this is Sarah Spain, and you're on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
If you did some grilling this weekend, you got a photo of what was on that grill, that glorious meat. Upload that glorious meat photo from your grill pledge at sasportstar.com. You could win yourself a $50 gift card to Tri-County Meat Market, grilling with the Blitz every Thursday here on San Antonio Sports Star. In fact, you got to go to sasportstar.com now. Rock the Mic. Brought to you by Slackers and Jim Beam. We're winding this baby down. And it's interesting because I'm looking at the votes. Now, I got to admit, I think there's either the top 3 or 4 vote getters get in and then the wild card. And maybe I should go to meetings. But I know that we're going to have at least 4 join us at Slacker Sports and Arcade Bar over the next couple of days where they get to spend some time on the air with me on the Blitz. And so voting ends at midnight tonight. Now, if you're one of the contestants, if you've got a video on that page right now and you're trying to get votes, you have until tonight to get those people to vote. And again, whatever it takes to get done. You think about Michael Jimenez was on his HOA page. He was on this, he was on that. And I've seen this now through the years where some guys will rally in late. Some of you have put in zero effort. You can't win this contest if you don't have the votes. Now, we do have that wild card for this very reason. But if you get a call from James Pledger tomorrow morning and you're one of those 12, you've got 2 days. And pretty much we'll tell you but you got to make yourself available because kind of like anything else, if you can't show up for the event, you can't move on. So, I mean, there's some things in play here over the next couple of days with Rock the Mic. Tomorrow we're going to be at the Slacker Sports and Arcade Bar, their new location down on St. Mary's. You know, they had the old location on St. Mary's. Apparently they've moved. I haven't been to this new one, so I can't wait to go check out the new St. Mary's location for Slacker Sports and Arcade Bar. Then on Thursday, we're going to be back at the Medical Center location on Fredericksburg Road. Now, we invite everybody to come out and join us over the next 2 days along with the contestants, because you have a chance to win Dallas Cowboys tickets. We're going to give away a pair of Cowboys Raiders tickets tomorrow and a pair on Thursday. Cowboys Raiders, that happens to be the Thanksgiving Day game. Those are very, very valuable tickets. And the Raiders, hell, I don't know if they're going to be good or bad when Thanksgiving rolls around. You know, there was a point on the schedule where you looked at, you know, this stretch of games, Denver easy win. Well, that didn't happen. Then you get Atlanta. Then you go on the road to Kansas City. Then you're home a couple of days later on Thanksgiving against the Raiders. Then the following Thursday, you have the New Orleans Saints. I mean, those 3 games, that looked like a rough gauntlet when the schedule came out, or even August. September rolled around, and Kansas City hasn't been the team we thought. The Raiders, man, I'm not sure what's going on with that franchise. I know they can still be good, but they've been wildly inconsistent and look like they're in a bit of a tailspin. They released another guy. And it's interesting because, you know, they release a guy who made all kinds of threats on a video. And then you look at his college scouting report, and it said, yeah, we knew he had issues, but we thought we'd be able to coach him up and provide him the right environment, and everything would be good. Yeah, all the red flags were there, Mike Mayock, yet you drafted the guy anyway. Well, we trusted his coaches at Ohio State when they said, yeah, he'd be good. He's not, I mean, that's 2 first-round picks that they've lost. One in a very tragic accident with that rug situation. But this one, the writing was on the wall, and they knew it, and drafted him anyway, and gone. I mean, it is kind of insane when you look at it. So who knows what the Raiders are going to be, and who knows who's going to be quarterback in the Saints. Could be Taysom Hill, although he could be hurt again. Could be Trevor Siemian. By then, I mean, maybe they get Drew Brees off the NBC desk. I mean, you have no idea. No, that's not going to happen. Maybe it's Phillip Rivers. That could happen. We will see. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with the Dallas Cowboys coming up over the next several weeks. But make sure you're out at Slackers Wednesday and Thursday for Rock the Mic 2021, brought to you in part by Jim Beam. We will have Cowboys tickets to give away on both shows, on Wednesday at St. Mary's, on Thursday at the Medical Center location. Coming up at 5:30, Charean Williams from Pro Football Talk will join us. Doug Gottlieb will join us. He's around the corner. We'll visit with Doug Gottlieb coming up in a bit. You know, injuries do happen, so if you twist, pull, pop, or snap something, you need to know about Dr. David Espinosa at TSAOG Orthopedics. Dr. Espinosa treats all non-surgical orthopedic injuries, and he has same-day and next-day availability. Telemedicine services are also available. There's no reason to be in pain. If you're hurting, visit Dr. David Espinosa at TSAOG Orthopedics. Schedule an appointment by calling 210-804-5490. 804-5490, or learn more online at tsaog.com.
Rock the Mic moves into the voting phase. 12 finalists, live auditions, and only one 2021 Rock the Mic winner.
Hi, this is Carolina Teague, the Rock the Mic 2 winner.
Vote for your favorite Rock the Mic champ now at sasportstar.com. And join us for the live auditions from Slacker Sports Bar throughout November. Only one will be crowned the 2021 Rock the Mic champion. Presented by Slacker Sports Bar and in part by Jim B. Rock the Mic on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Whether you're vaccinated or not, it's important to know the symptoms of COVID and its variants. Fever is the leading sign of COVID and the flu, so make sure you use an accurate thermometer. Only the Exergen Temporal Scanner Thermometer has been proven accurate with more than 100 clinical studies. Non-contact thermometers have no clinical evidence behind them and are not reliable. Be vigilant and seek medical advice at the first sign of fever. Learn more at Exergen.com.
Jay Farner here, CEO of Rocket Companies. If you thought you missed your chance to refinance and save, think again. Mortgage rates have recently dropped below 3%. And Rocket Mortgage can help you save big. You could lower your monthly payment and prepare yourself for a better financial future. But you've got to act now. Call us today at 833-8ROCKET or go to rocketmortgage.com.
Conditions apply. Equal housing lender licensed in all 50 states. NMLSconsumeraccess.org number 3030.
Fever is the leading symptom of COVID and the flu, and the only way to reliably detect it is with an accurate thermometer. Be vigilant and be accurate with the Exergen Temporal Scanner, whose accuracy has been proven in more than 100 clinical studies. Don't rely on non-contact thermometers. They are proven to be inaccurate and will not reliably detect a fever that might mean COVID. Be sure to seek medical advice at the first sign of fever. Learn more at Exergen.com.
For the ones who get going when the going gets tough, and the ones who know we're tougher together. For the Pathfinders breaking new ground, Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry, as well as fast access to experts and 24/7 customer support. Because we know you have people depending on you, so you can always depend on us. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Are you thinking about selling your car? Don't get tricked with 2-minute offers only to spend 4 hours at a dealership. I want you to check out my friends at CarZeus. It's Rudy J here. CarZeus is not a dealership, so you don't need to worry about shady sales tactics just to lure you in the door. I'm talking about saving you time and hassle. Simply fill out a form about your car's condition at CarZeus.com, and a local agent will text you an offer during business hours. No obligation. Plus, they pay the same day and even provide a courtesy Lyft ride home. That's CarZeus.com.
Live, local, loud. KZDC, San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN, AM 1250 and 94.5 FM. Jason Minix, The Blitz.
It is The Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN, AM 1250, 94.5 FM. I'm Jason Minix. Glad to have you along on a Tuesday afternoon. It's a Worst Fest night for me. If you're going out to Worst Fest tonight, I'll see you in the pork chop on a stick line or on a beer line. There's some advantages to going to Worst Fest in the middle of the week, like on a Tuesday. You don't have to pay admission. So you get in free to go get a $7 beer. See, if you go on Saturday, you got to pay to get in and then go get a $7 beer. And it's not near as crowded. You know, the food lines aren't going to be an hour and a half long, hopefully. It's called a vet move to go to an event like that during the week, so you're not dealing with the major crowds and all that kind of stuff. Coming up at 5:30, we'll talk some Cowboys with Charean Williams from ProFootballTalk.com. Great NFL writer. We'll also get her thoughts on all the weird taunting rules that are going on right now in the NFL. And I know it's been an emphasis, but if you were watching Monday Night Football last night and you saw what happened to the Bears, and if you're a Bears fan, I understand you feel cheated today. I totally get it. But also, if you're a Bears fan, you're used to the weird stuff happening. I mean, you know, Nagy just has all the bad luck there is. It just seems like Matt Nagy and his team just can't catch a break. And that's what you had last night. But that was one of the stranger sequences that when you look at it and you feel like if the taunting penalty was on the dude for staring down the bench, then that makes all the sense in the world. Not that I agree with it, but at the same time, this deep into the NFL season, they've been pretty consistent in calling that. The problem I had with the whole sequence is when he turned to leave the field, the referee kind of hip checked him, and then the referee threw the flag. So watching it, it looked as if he was calling the flag for making contact with the official when it was clear that the official made contact and initiated the contact with the player. And it seems like there's not a fan out there that likes these taunting rules. It doesn't seem like any of the players like these taunting rules, but the coaches and the owners wanted it in there. Because by all accounts, listening to various coaches talk today, including Mike Tomlin, they wanted that put in because they were worried that there could be fights, there could be emotions escalate, and then you get guys kicked out, then you get guys suspended and that sort of stuff. So it seems like the coaches don't seem to mind it, even if it costs your team 15 yards. Even if you're a Bears fan, do you feel like that penalty there changed the outcome of the game? I mean, there was still plenty of football left. Steelers got a field goal, but the Bears, he went down and he took the lead. Then your defense couldn't hold, and then the Steelers went and took the lead. So when you look at it, I don't know that it did change the outcome of the game, but there's a lot of weird penalties this year, seemingly every week. And I don't know that it's any different this year than it has been in years past. Quite honestly, it feels like every year there are several games where we question officials. I know as a Cowboy fan, I go back to the New England game. Dak scored on that one touchdown. I don't care what the referees say. You can't convince me otherwise. I know Dez caught it. I mean, hell, we had the weird call in the game Sunday against the Broncos. I mean, you block a punt, and yeah, it's in the rules. Not that I knew that was a rule. Not that I remembered that was a rule. And by the letter of the law, yeah, it was broke. And that's, the referees called that one right, even though we all thought that they were ridiculous idiots while watching the game there at the stadium. I don't know of anybody in the stadium, and certainly not the group I was with, that thought the referees got that one right. Turns out they did. That might be a rule that they need to look at. When you look at a team gets a punt blocked and ends up with a first down because it ricocheted off some dude's helmet. I mean, that was just ridiculous. That was just a bizarre situation. But what we saw last night in the Bears game, taunting, it's interesting. Let's talk about it. Doug Gottlieb from Fox Sports Radio. He joins us now on this first day of college basketball. I appreciate you making the time. I figured you'd be in front of, 5-6 screens right now watching all the basketball you can.
Well, I'm headed that way. I'm actually at Moby Arena, Fort Collins, Colorado, where Colorado State takes on one of last year's Cinderella stories, the Oral Roberts. I think they're the Eagles now, right? Anyway, so yeah, I get to taste of a little fall, a little mountain fresh air in FOCO, and I'm going to pop into a sports bar, and I got to call a game tonight, which you can see on your phone or any device. And Stadium, which is I get to do games for them wherever I want. It's pretty fun. So I'm going to go watch games like the rest of the world and enjoy college hoops being back.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And you get to do a little travel. That's pretty cool. Now, let's before we get into some college basketball as the season does get underway today. Last night in the NFL game, what does the NFL do with the taunting penalty?
Nothing. I think Mike Tomlin explained it afterwards, and I understand some of them are borderline ridiculous, right? But like Jason, you and I have been doing this long enough. You remember when, and actually this year's for example, but you remember when they took out the hand checking from the NBA, and there were games where there were 70 free throws for a team. Like, it was ridiculous, but they had to make an emphasis. You got to go swing all the other way. And then so you kind of dial back. This year, James Harden and all these guys are averaging fewer points because they're not getting the flops. Right? And they're like, we're done with it. I actually like this. I think this is Mike Tomlin said afterwards, like, look, we didn't like the way our game was trending. I think a lot of it comes from, and I have a kid who plays tackle football, and they all watch like these YouTubes of these wide receiver camps or workouts, and they go there, and there's a bunch of kids and stand around, and they just have them try and get open, right? And it's just about making the other guy look bad. It's not about refining your skill. It's not about getting in and out of a break that much. And it's just the taunting. It's just like, that's not what it's about, right? And so do I think it looks bad now? Yeah. But I mean, it's the same thing with the hitting the quarterback. Look, man, we don't want those quarterbacks getting hurt. Everything changes when those quarterbacks get hurt. So we go a little bit crazy with the rules. We don't want guys standing over each other and grabbing their junk. So we'll go a little bit crazy with the rules. And I think eventually, once we get to later in the season, they'll let a lot of stuff go. I mean, it's the old, you remember when there was that terrible call against the Saints in the Rams game in the playoffs, right?
Oh,
and
yeah.
Sean McVay they had Sean McVay mic'd up at the time. He said, that's a Super Bowl call. Well, what does that mean? Like, I've been told in football that NFL guys all know that one of the reasons like the Seahawks just manhandled the Broncos first time in the playoffs in the Super Bowl was because in the Super Bowl they're known for, we don't really want to throw flags. There's 150 million people domestically watching this game. We don't want penalties for, three-quarters of the people don't watch NFL football. They don't know what a penalty is, and it doesn't make for a good watch, right? So they do adjust. I think they'll adjust the same thing with the taunting. I just think they want to get a lot of this stuff under control, and they don't want to make it like the N1 mixtape.
And I look at that, and you're right. And by this point of the year, we know what they're going to call. Now, what I found interesting last night is, the guy does the Cobra Kai karate kick, celebrates with the teammates, they leave, and he's still staring at the bench. But it wasn't until he made contact with the official that the official threw the flag, and clearly the official initiated contact.
Right.
And so I thought he was throwing the flag initially for making contact with the official when it was clearly the official who made the contact. I think there's stuff like that just looks bad. But at the same time, if you get a fumble recovery, the whole defense can go celebrate in the end zone and pretend they're taking Instagram photos.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like that either, but at least it's doing it as a team. I don't know.
I'm with you.
Justin Fields looked good, and I thought Ben Roethlisberger looked like he was washed up. That was my bigger takeaways from it. And then Aaron Rodgers, no apology was pretty interesting today.
Yeah, no, I mean, that was a great way of saying if you felt like I misled you, I take responsibility for that. That was his way of apologizing. You're right. Now,
no, it's his way of saying I'm smarter than all of you.
Well, right? Sure. He also said it.
Chase, that's all it is. He's very bright. Okay, he's very bright, but he thinks he's smarter than everybody. He didn't say, "Hey, I misled you. I apologize. I said some things that weren't true." He said, "If you think I misled you."
True.
And then he continued to reiterate it. Like, dude, he lied. It was pretty obvious. And do I think it's like the worst lie ever? Like, no, I'm not going to sit here and castrate him, because it's pretty obvious that he lied, right? They asked him, are you vaccinated, and what's your stance on vaccines? And he said yes. And then he said, I'm immunized. Yes, I'm immunized. But the answer to the question was yes. And then he said, I'm immunized. Pretty obvious that he was lying. And then he said, those guys who didn't get vaccinated. Okay. So that automatically, we don't have to ask a follow-up question. He just said he was vaccinated or immunized, which actually means inoculated or vaccinated. So, I mean, he's just trying to be clever with it, and he's not. He lied about it. And then he would have had a mask on at the press conferences if not for the fact that he didn't want people asking him, why are you wearing a mask unless you're not vaccinated? Fairly obvious stuff. So, I don't. I still think he's a great quarterback. Go ahead.
I was going to say, and he is a great quarterback. It's going to be interesting. What I found interesting about his appearance today on the Pat McAfee show is his tone and his attitude was completely different than on Friday. And he doesn't want to talk COVID anymore. In fact, he said, I'm an athlete, not an activist, which makes me wonder if he heard from, I don't know, State Farm or some of the other people that he does endorsements for, and he realizes he might end up losing money if he continues on with the comments that he had been making.
I could be wrong. I don't think money is the motivator. I think that this is what people do is when you lie and you get caught, initially you're defiant. Now you become a martyr, right? Oh, the media, the big bad media, and now activists are after me, and the left wants to cancel me, and the right wants to champion me, and I don't like them, and they don't like me, all these other things. Like, he becomes a martyr. And then at some point there'll be, whether it's now or later, it'll be some sort of acceptance, and there will be the accountability, right? But look, it's a crazy time. This is all I wish somebody would just say, and I probably should have said it today, and maybe I'll say it tomorrow on my own show, is, it's a crazy time. It's like, honestly, it's like the Trump thing. How many people lost friendships over it? You're pro, you're anti-Trump, or whatever. I'll just point this out. And I have plenty of friends that voted for him, plenty of friends that voted against him. I don't know what it was, like, 145 million people voted, which is crazy numbers for the president of the United States. But the seed that he planted, okay, the toxicity that he planted in terms of people respecting the media, people respecting medicine, people expecting the truth. And it doesn't mean that people weren't lied to previously. And I'm not absolving others from it. But the attack on the media has become the cool thing. That's a Trump deal. Like, this is the card that you play. You know, when you don't, it's the old shoot the messenger. Like, there was nothing wrong with the question. Could you, if I'm sitting there and I'm listening, if I was in that press conference, would I have said, like, hey, you said immunized, like, what's the difference between that and being vaccinated? I probably would have asked, because I'm curious. I do think I do follow-ups or whatever, but, like, you know, chastising the media for even asking a question. If it was personal, you can say it's personal. They asked all these other quarterbacks. They asked Lamar Jackson. They asked Tom Brady. They asked Kirk Cousins. They asked everybody. It's a big thing. And oh yeah, by the way, at no point in time did he say, there wasn't one time, and I didn't hear the entire interview, but I did hear long clips, and I made sure I had my guys track it. You know, at one point in time, he was like, you know what? Gosh, in hindsight, I wish I would have gotten vaccinated. Just for football, we might have lost the home field advantage. And this could be his last great shot at the Super Bowl, right? I mean, they beat the Cardinals on the road. They had home field advantage. They were just out getting healthy. They win that game Sunday if he plays. Probably win this Sunday if he plays. And he tests positive. All he would have to do is have 2 negative tests by game time if he was vaccinated. But there's no level of accountability to it. But there's no vaccine mandate in the NFL. And people act like there's no vaccine mandate. They just make it really, really hard and almost annoying if you're not vaccinated. That was agreed to by the Players Association. Like, it was. So if you're complaining about anything, complain about the agreement that was made, but it's agreement that was made, and these are the rules, and he didn't follow them, and then he did a little bait and switch with, I'm immunized, and he said those guys. That's really what happened, and it's a shame because I've lied before. I'm not gonna BS it. I've lied, and I've said some hurtful lies, covered up some things in my own life. Okay. But this is what you do, right? You cover a lie with another lie with another lie, and then you blame everybody else when you did it yourself. Right? Everybody knows you did it yourself. And at some point in time, you just got to go like, hey, I was wrong. Let me apologize. I'll be better. And then we all go, you know what? I've lied too. You know what? I've done something too. I followed false prophets too. I've done all these things. To err is very, very human. And I think he just has this complex where he has to have the last word. He has to be smarter than people. And that's a curse, not a gift.
He is Doug Gottlieb from Fox Sports Radio, joining us here on the Blitz as he does every Tuesday just after 5 o'clock. Although today's not in L.A., he's in Fort Collins as he gets ready to call some college basketball tonight. We'll talk some college hoops in a moment if we don't run out of time, Doug. But this weekend in the NFL was one of the more bizarre weekends when you look at the Cowboys getting their butts kicked by the Broncos, the Rams losing to Tennessee, the way they did especially, no Derrick Henry, Buffalo beating Jacksonville. How do you explain what you saw this weekend in the NFL?
I don't. I can't. I mean, how do you explain it? I mean, Tennessee, when they lost to the Jets, they didn't have, Brown or Julio Jones. So, I mean, that's kind of explanatory, but it's just football, right? It's the good thing about the bigger sample size now with 17 games is you're going to have a stinker. It explains some of these stinkers. Like, there's just some games where you're like, yeah, we're bad today. That's the only thing I can think of. And, I also think that, this is a league where generally games are decided by a touchdown. Most of the teams are 7-9 to 9-7. Obviously now this year you have a 17th game. And I don't think there's that great a disparity between most teams. Games are decided by a play here, a play there. And, when you're missing a key player, you're missing your quarterback, you're missing somebody, these are the kind of things that happen. So I wish I could explain it to Buffalo, Jacksonville. I also think, look, those guys aren't complete idiots over there in Jacksonville. They've done some dumb stuff, but they're some pretty good football guys, and guys have pride. And I think that's the magic to it is, is getting guys to keep fighting when there's no real reasonable reason they should keep fighting, right? And that's what Jacksonville's doing a good job of. I've seen the Lions fight really hard, even though they stink. And I think that's probably one of the easier explanations for it.
Doug Gottlieb joining us here on the Blitz, college basketball analyst. The season gets underway today. There's games all over your TV right now, and some, ugly matchups. Like right now, Villanova is leading Mount St. Mary's 91-51 as that game is about to go final. Ohio State's playing Akron. The Texas Longhorns, they got a big one today against Houston Baptist. And Chris Beard's debut. Longhorns come in ranked number 5. Will there be any kind of honeymoon period for Chris Beard?
Yeah. I don't think, I think some of it's who you follow, and you followed a guy who, people forget about his Big 12 tournament success because they lost to, they lost to Abilene to start the tournament or whatever. But he's not following Roy Williams, not following Bill Self. He's following a guy who it didn't feel like was a great fit in terms of style for the personnel that he recruited. And, Beard's, the budget's crazy. The new arena is going to be insane, and they have a nice team. But yeah, I think so. I think right now football is so bad and so disappointing at the end of this year that any sign of hope for basketball will be well received. Look, they're going to play Gonzaga. Mark View's not there. You got a bunch of guys playing their first game in a Zag uniform. And even though he's got a bunch of guys, he's coaching his first game at Texas, he got a lot of guys with experience, got an older team, done a nice job in rebuilding this thing. He's got some guys back as well. So I think there'll be a little bit of one. And I think football coming to this kind of petering end of the season, I think probably helps him more than anything.
Yeah, it's a UT basketball school right now. We just got to look at it like that, because especially Texas and Kansas this weekend, which might be great, during basketball season, but this weekend, who knows? Tonight, speaking of Kansas,
look, I can only speak to, Oklahoma State. They lost to Iowa State. They come back, they play KU, and remember KU had played OU close, and Oklahoma State played really good football. Everybody got in. It was homecoming. And then they go out and they thump West Virginia. So I do think for Texas, they got to use this as a springboard. They got to fix some things. Obviously, the defense has been a mess, but they got to figure out quarterback as well. So I do believe that this is the old get right game. Everybody should walk out of this game feeling good about themselves. Get yourself in a rhythm. Prepare for the stretch run of the season. Here's the last couple of games. And I do think you can get something out of it, even if it feels like a waste of time game.
Doug, as closely as you follow college basketball, and I know you do it far, far closer than I do, so I don't want this to sound like a dumb question, but, coming up at 6, you've got Kansas taking on Michigan State there at Madison Square Garden. Michigan State not ranked. And when I see that, and I think, how is that even possible? With Tom Izzo and their brand, and, I got to believe Michigan State probably will figure out how to be a top 15, top 10 team by the end of the year and figure out what they've got to do in the tournament. But are they coming into the season, were you surprised when they weren't ranked in the top 25? Am I misreading this completely?
I just think it's hard. I think, they weren't particularly good last year. Right? The record was what it was last year. And then they were supposed to have Amani Bates, who changed classes, and now he's at Memphis, who's the number 2 player maybe in this class, or, top 3 in this class. And then, you lose your top assistant who goes back home to Indiana to be their associate head coach. And yeah, they kind of stalled out here. And then again, look around that league. This is a weird year because you're going to have some super old teams, right? Where you have super seniors. Brad Davison, this is his 6th year. And I'm trying to think, Bohannon at Iowa's in his 6th year. Injuries in the COVID year, and they got it's like a 6th year. It's crazy. So there's lots of teams that have men and some teams that have boys, really talented boys, but boys nonetheless. And if you're kind of caught in the middle, and that feels like what Michigan State is, kind of caught in the middle, it's really hard to pick yourself up off the mat. In addition, Michigan has a little bit better momentum in terms of recruiting and just vibes. So, yeah, I mean, like, look, it's a hard one right now for Iz, but he can coach. I think they'll be fine, but there's other programs that have – when you talk about Villanova, I'm going to see Villanova take on UCLA on Friday night in L.A. But, I mean, like, look, UCLA, they have a super talented incoming freshman, but they got a transfer from Rutgers who comes back home. He's a Long Beach kid. And then the rest of their team is just like everybody back from last year, and they're back because they're not NBA players, but they're really, really good, you know? And I think Kansas is a team that, you know, you got Jalen Coleman lands. He's 24, 25. This is his fourth program he's played in. And, you know, if you're Michigan State and you're not used to taking transfers and double transfers or having super seniors, and you don't have a dearth of incoming talent and your returning guys are just okay, like you're just kind of in that middling pack, and that's where they are.
It's going to be an interesting season for sure. Doug Gottlieb from Fox Sports Radio. Enjoy Colorado tonight, especially that game coming up on Friday night. We'll visit next week, Doug. Always appreciate the time.
Yeah, my man. Talk soon.
Doug Gottlieb from Fox Sports Radio on Twitter at Gottlieb Show. We'll shift gears, talk some Cowboys football with Charean Williams from Pro Football Talk. She joins us next. You know, I tell you all the time, if you're having any issues at the house with your plumbing, your AC, there's one company to call, and that is Quarter Moon Plumbing, Heating, and AC, 210-651-5899. This morning, I'm taking out the trash, and I realized I've got a pipe that's spewing out a whole lot of water on the side of my house. I have no idea how long that's been going on because, you know, I only walk on the side of the house every so often, like on trash day. I don't know. Called Quarter Moon Plumbing, Heating, and AC this morning at 2 o'clock this afternoon. Jesse came to my house looking at my water heater because we kind of knew based on the pipe and it was hot water. That's what it was. Apparently, my TMP thingamajigger had gone bad. Had it all fixed. A little bit before 3, he's on his way. I'm not leaking. I've got hot water. Everything is fine. Jesse and the guy that was with Jesse did a fantastic job. Quick, easy, knew exactly what they needed to do, and they got it fixed. Wasn't an emergency, wasn't flooding water inside of my house, but if I had that problem, I'm calling Quarter Moon. That leak, see something's not right, you call Quarter Moon, they're going to get you taken care of. Big job, small job, residential or commercial. At Quarter Moon, their service trucks are fully stocked, and they have all the equipment needed for any job, just like this job. You know, it's under warranty. He could have taken the part, driven down to wherever the part place is, switched them out, and come back to the house. He's got it on the truck. So it's just a speedier, more efficient process. That's what they do at Quarter Moon. They'll provide estimates, second opinions. They've got a great experienced staff like Jesse that has helped earn an A-plus ranking with the Better Business Bureau. And at Quarter Moon, they are green certified. That's plumbing issues, and you don't need your heater yet, but you will soon. You got to get that maintenance check done at Quarter Moon. They've got great maintenance programs that ensures your unit is ready for every season. Quarter Moon Plumbing, Heating, and AC. Call 210-651-5899, 651-5899, or online, quartermoonplumbing.com. Charean Williams from Pro Football Talk joins us next right after Sports Center with James Pledger.
Thanks a lot, Jason. The Dallas Cowboys are looking to get back on track after falling to Denver last weekend, but they may have to do it without kicker Greg Zerline, who's been placed on the reserve COVID-19 list, as he'll need 2 negative tests 24 hours apart to return in time for the game. The Cowboys are reportedly going to work out kickers tomorrow. The Houston Texans claim running back Royce Freeman from the Carolina Panthers, as the Texans now have a backfield that includes Royce Freeman, Rex Burkhead, Scotty Phillips, Philip Lindsay, and David Johnson. In college basketball, the start of the season is tonight. The Texas State Bobcats take on the Incarnate Word Cardinals here in San Antonio at 6:30. The UTSA Roadrunners welcome the Trinity Tigers into the Convocation Center for a 7:30 tip. The Texas Tech Red Bears open up the Mark Adams tenure tonight as he replaced Chris Beard, as Tech will welcome University of North Florida into Lubbock for a 7 o'clock tip. While speaking of Chris Beard, the 5th-ranked Longhorns In Chris Beard's first game, we'll welcome Houston Baptist into the Frank Irwin Center with tip-off set for 8 o'clock. And, of course, you can catch that game on the Longhorn Network. I'm James Pledger, and the Sports Center Update was brought to you by Alamo Water Softeners on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
From city streets to back roads, from road warrior to carpooler, there are some things you can always count on, like the reliability, durability, and power of Die Hard, America's most trusted auto battery. No matter where your journey takes you, count on Die Hard to get you started on the road ahead. Available at your local Advance Auto Parts and participating CarQuest stores.
The Roo Pub is the best place to watch a game. Football, basketball, the big fights, they have them on at the Roo on their 3 massive 170-inch laser screens and TVs all around. Come hungry, the food is fantastic, and the kitchen is open until 2 a.m. every day with the full menu available. The Roo Pub has the best darts area in town, indoor cornhole and weekday happy hour from 11 to 6. For lunch, dinner, or late at night, and the best place to watch a game, get into the Roo Pub at 281 in Redmond Road. We'll see you at the Roo.
I struggled with symptoms like frequent gas and stomach pain for years.
I was bloated all the time with daily diarrhea.
At first, I thought it was what I was eating.
I kept thinking it was stomach issues.
So I did my research and talked to my doctor, and we finally uncovered the truth.
It was actually EPI. Exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI, is a condition where your pancreas is unable to help break down your food.
It can lead to symptoms like diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, unexplained weight loss, and oily stools.
And EPI symptoms can be confused with those of other common digestive conditions, like irritable bowel syndrome, Crohn's, and celiac disease.
So getting to the right diagnosis meant being more open with my doctor about the severity of my symptoms and how often they were happening.
But there's good news. EPI is manageable, so don't wait any longer. Use the symptom checker at identifyepi.com and schedule a visit or call with your doctor to ask, could I have EPI?
Sponsored by AbbVie.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
Get Diamonds Direct's unbeatable price, plus an extra 20% off virtually everything. Yes! It's happening next weekend, November 19th through 21st. 3 days of spectacular store-wide savings. All rings, all earrings, all pendants, all bracelets, all on sale. This is the biggest and last sale of the year. The one where they break all the rules. The selection is like double the norm. Designers are here with their entire lines, all at the absolute lowest prices of the year, plus special financing. Next weekend. Details at diamondsdirect.com. At the shops at La Cantera.
Injuries happen, so if you twist, pull, pop, or snap something, you need Dr. David Espinosa at TSAOG Orthopedics. Dr. Espinosa treats all non-surgical orthopedic injuries and has same-day and next-day availability. Telemedicine services are also available. There is no reason to be in pain. If you are hurting, visit Dr. David Espinosa at TSAOG Orthopedics. Learn more at TSAOG.com. That's TSAOG.com, or schedule your appointment by calling 210-804-5490.
The Camera Exchange is having their biggest sales event of the year, the 2021 Fall Expo, November 19th to the 21st. The Camera Exchange will pay sales taxes on all Canon purchases, including the Canon R5, Canon R6, Canon T8i, and the Canon RF 50mm 1.2. Everyone will get a gift card at the door worth up to $200 and prizes every day. The Camera Exchange Fall Expo, November 19th to the 21st. The Camera Exchange, 1 mile inside Loop 410 on San Pedro, online at camerax.com.
The annual San Antonio Auto and Truck Show is November 12th through the 14th. We're partnering with some of SA's favorite pet organizations for the Subaru Loves Pets initiative. With on-site pet adoptions, you can see new cars and trucks and take home a furry friend that just might like to ride in one. Get your tickets now.
The play is in. The Blitz with Jason Minix and Sports Insiders. San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
It is the Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. If you're watching on Facebook, on YouTube, or listening at sasportstar.com, always appreciate it. I'm Jason Minix. Charean Williams from Pro Football Talk joins us now to try to make sense out of what we saw Sunday at AT&T Stadium. it's one thing to say they just had a clunker and that's going to happen, every now and then. And I think about all the fans like me, you fly up, get a hotel, go to the game, and you see that. All right. I mean, is there any other way to explain it other than it was just a clunker in all facets of the game?
Well, it was. And, you have to hope that for Dak Prescott's sake that it was rust, that it wasn't the injury. And I asked him specifically after the game, did the right calf injury play any part in your performance today? And he said it had nothing to do with this game. Okay, so if that's the case, we rule that out. We believe him. We take him at his word. Rule that out. Was it rust? And, he was a little less assertive on that. So it very well could have been rust. I had an executive call me yesterday, and this goes to Aaron Rodgers as well coming up this week. And he just told me that it's from another team. And he used Dak as an example, and when we were talking about Aaron Rodgers, but he said there are very few people in the NFL who can just walk out onto the playing field without having practiced a lot and just pick up right where they left off, just flip the switch. It just really doesn't happen, especially at the quarterback position. And, he had 2 full practices since that injury in New England on October 17th, which was almost a month ago. So, you do hope it was rust, because the other explanation is he just flat out wasn't any good. And maybe the Broncos did figure him out, and you don't want that to be the case. You want it to be, all right, it was just a bad game, him coming back. He worked some of that out with those last 2 touchdown drives. He's going to be good from here on out. But we're going to find out very quickly against the Falcons. They better be ready to play. We saw what the Falcons did in New Orleans. This isn't a team you can just walk out on the field and go, okay, we're going to win. And maybe they did that some to Denver as well. Maybe they just walked out there and go, hey, we beat Minnesota with Cooper Rush. We have Dak Prescott back. We're going to go beat the Broncos. And it just doesn't work like that in this league. You have to be ready to play each and every week.
And maybe the noon start had something to do with it. The great start. I know with Jeff Traylor, the head coach over with the UTSA Roadrunners, they're undefeated, and his mantra has been don't eat the cheese. And, so, I felt like the Cowboys ate all the cheese and dealt with the ramifications against the Broncos because, that Cowboys team was bad. I know they got those 2 touchdowns late. And unless you've got Dak in your fantasy league, they were meaningless. And even with those yards and points, it was still season lows for that offense that had 109 total yards of offense in the first half, which is incredible to think about that offense, the way they are built and what they're designed to do. For them, you got to give Denver some credit, but they just look completely off. And I think it kind of starts with the offensive line. Terrence Steele, as great as he's been at right tackle, was certainly helping Dak off the turf a whole bunch from the left tackle spot.
Yeah, I don't know that you can point to one player who played well at all. You look at the pass that Amari Cooper dropped that was right in his hands, that would have been a big play. I do wonder one thing. Let's just say they either pick up those 2 fourth downs on the first 2 drives, which play call, let's talk about Kellen Moore, how bad he was. You run right into the teeth of the defense when there's 10 guys right there waiting to stop Ezekiel Elliott. And I thought he was off on his play calling this week as well. And then you go to the next one, and Dak didn't even make a competitive throw. I thought it was tipped at the line, but he said after the game, no, it wasn't tipped. He just changed his arm angle because he saw hands in the air trying to get it to Cedric Wilson and threw it at his feet. So no chance on either one of those 4th downs. But let's just say they picked those up or they kicked the field goals. Maybe that game would have been different. Maybe, obviously if you even make the 2 field goals, you're not down 16-0 at halftime. At least you have points on the board. 16-6 is better than 16-0. And maybe the field position changes and they don't score the 16 points in the first half. Who knows? But, sometimes things just happen. Either you make a play or you don't make a play, and it really changes the whole game. We'll never know how that turned out or would have turned out if either of those things had happened. But you do wonder a little bit if things could have been different if some of those things had happened. But, the defense was bad too. They missed a season-high 14 tackles, and that run defense looked like the run defense of last season. And it's funny, I was talking to the Broncos PR guy before the game, and some of the Broncos beat writers just standing around talking, and I said, I think Denver really has a chance in this game. And we started talking about the defense. I said, I don't think the defense is that good. What they're doing really, really well is they're forcing takeaways. And that's great, but at some point those takeaways dry up and you've got to make stops. And that's what they didn't do. They didn't get the takeaways and they weren't making the stops, and it added up to a 13-16 loss. So you hope there's no blueprints there, which Vic Fangio talked about after the game. You hope there's not that blueprint there. We're going to find out very quickly in this next stretch of 4 games really what the Cowboys have and what they're made of. Or are they contenders or are they not contenders? I don't think we know that yet, even with their 6-2 record. I think we will know that after these next 4 games against the Falcons, Chiefs, Raiders, and Saints.
You know, Charean, and it was 17 games. I don't know if we're at the official midway point of the year or not mathematically, but, you know, after 8 games, you generally have a pretty good idea of what a team is. I am not as concerned about the Cowboys offense, even after what we saw against Denver. But that defense, and you and I have talked about it a couple times, with no takeaways, are they as good? Now, they looked really good against Minnesota in stopping the run game, including Dalvin Cook. How do they come back the following week and look so bad? How does the entire team come out flat?
Yeah, and I think that goes back to coaching. And, you know, Jerry talked about it on this radio show today, and I do think you have to put some of that on Mike McCarthy for not having them ready to go. That's what the head coach does. The head coach has to motivate. He has to have his team ready to play. And they just looked out of sync from the very beginning, from that first drive when they went for it on 4th down and didn't get it. And then the Broncos proceed to score and score again. And suddenly they're up 16-0 at halftime. And you're like, okay, what happened? What went wrong? And, you know, then the tide just kept going against them. You know, maybe if you get that punt blocked and it goes in your favor at that point, maybe you score a touchdown there and it's 16-7 and it's a different game. As it turned out, Broncos used that second chance to go down and get a field goal. And now it's 19-0 and things have just kind of snowballed on you. And you're sitting there going, it's just not our day. You know, we missed on 2 4th downs and now we get the punt block and we don't even get the ball. Maybe it's just not our day. And it turned out like that. So you hope from a Cowboys standpoint that it was just a bad day, just one of those days, and they'll come back and turn it on, because if you're a contender, you're not going to put 2 of these games together. It's, you know, everybody's going to have a clunker during the year. They just are. And the Cardinals maybe haven't had theirs. They should have won that game against the Packers on that Thursday night if A.J. Green had just turned around. They're probably the one team right now that hasn't had that clunker. They're going to have it. Every team's going to have a clunker. You hope this is the one, if you're a Cowboys fan, that this is the one clunker, that this isn't blueprints, this isn't teams have figured them out, how to beat them, et cetera, et cetera. Again, that Falcons team, if you remember last year, the Falcons should have beaten the Cowboys in here, and they looked really good against the Saints. So we're going to find out Sunday, was that a one-off, or is something else going on with this team? Are they really not as good as what we thought they were? And I think they're as good as we thought we were. I do think they're a contender. I think they are. But I can't say that with any 100% certainty until I see what they do on Sunday.
And I agree with you there. And hopefully Dan Quinn has a little something for his former team. Now, there are some issues already. It's Tuesday, and Greg Zerline has found his way onto the COVID list. Now, if he's vaccinated and has 2 negative tests in a 24-hour period before Sunday, he'll be able to play. In the meantime, the Cowboys have to have a backup kicker in reserve, and they've gone to the guy with a name that none of us can pronounce. I can't wait for Brad Cham, if that's the guy, to have to try to say that one. But, you know, at least it's the kicker. Is that the positive spin here for the Cowboys?
Yeah, I guess you hope it doesn't come down to a field goal like in New England, because he made that one and was so good and really bailed out Mike McCarthy in that game. But you also worry about, has he spread it to, you know, other people? What is the fallout of that? And now we're going to find out through some testing the rest of the week. And teams, it's been weird because I just looked at the numbers, and before Halloween, the cases were way, way down. It was like 8 cases in a 2 or 3 week span. And now if you look today, all the players who've gone on the COVID list, I don't know if they had Halloween parties. I don't know what went on, but since Halloween, the numbers have really spiked. And so, if you're the Cowboys or any other team, there's been a ton of them today that has put somebody on the COVID list, you hope that it doesn't spread within the team. That's what you hope. And he's not going to come back and play. There has been no one that's come back that quickly. That's what the rules are. But if he's vaccinated, 2 negative tests within 24 hours apart, doctor clears him asymptomatic. Yes, that's there. So reality is, yes, he can still come back and play. But no one, it would set an NFL record for him to come back and play Sunday. Let me just say that. No one has returned that quickly from the COVID list who's been vaccinated. It's all been around 10 days for anybody to come back off the COVID list. So I would look for him to be back in 10 days. And anybody else who tests positive this week, 10 days again, you start counting out because it's probably going to be 10 days. Vaccinated, unvaccinated, it's all been about 10 days for a return.
Charean Williams from Pro Football Talk, reader there. You can watch her on Peacock, and not just Cowboys, but all NFL. And Charean, we've talked about officials and how bad some of them have been. And I try not to be the guy that complains about officials because about 98% of the time, those guys are right and they're doing it live, and it is a tough job. But that taunting last night, it was probably taunting by the way they have called things this year, and that's what the NFL claims to want. But it's when the referee threw the flag after he kind of hip-checked the Bears player that made it just look that much worse. Is this really what the NFL wants?
I can't imagine it is. I mean, I think we've had 5 posts on the officiating from that game today. That's all anybody's talking about from that game last night. And it was a great game. It came back and forth in the final 2 minutes. I think there were 3 scores there in the last few minutes of that game, just back and forth. You didn't know who was going to win. Kind of an exciting game, especially for somebody who's impartial, just watching the game unbiased. But the Bears, to me, have legitimate gripes about so many things that went on in that game, not just the taunting, but you look at the Justin Fields, the roughing they don't get, the roughing that Ben Roethlisberger does get. It looked like they were offsides on the field goal. So what would another 5 yards have done for them? Would they have tried a Hail Mary at that point if they had gotten the offsides call on that? And then, of course, the blocking below the waist, which they whiffed twice on that. Tony Corrente, in his explanation, said, well, he was outside the tight end box. No, he wasn't outside the tight end box. We all saw it on ESPN. And then he said he made contact. No, he didn't. He whiffed on the block. So you're 0 for 2. So you really screwed that one up and took a touchdown off the board from the Bears. Bears have a legitimate gripe. 12 penalties. I think it was 115 yards that they had. The Steelers had 30 yards in penalties. Come on. It wasn't a good look. And with gambling being legalized and what it's become into the NFL, they're going to have some accountability and some transparency, which they haven't had in that NFL officiating office since Dean Blandino left. And Mike Pereira before him was very, very good. But they're going to have to do that. And I just think the fix isn't in, but people are going to think the fix is in when you have games like this, that it's just so egregious. The calls are so bad. And to your point about taunting specifically, I can't imagine when they made this a point of emphasis that that's what they were talking about. I mean, it's his former team. I don't even think he was yelling or screaming, but he was far enough away from the sideline anyway. And I get it. People say, well, he knows that's the point of it. Yes, he does. But it's the emotion of the moment. He's made a big play against his former team. He's excited. Give him a break. I mean, let him have 2 seconds to yell and scream and then walk back across. He wasn't hurting the Steelers. So, yes, I hope they change taunting. Let's get rid of it as a point of emphasis. Let's move on. We're talking about that way, way, way too much. If it's obvious, throw the flag. If it's not obvious like that, let the guys celebrate.
Well, that's it. In Mother Football, can you make sure that if you block a punt, the other team doesn't end up with a first down?
There you go. Let's get that rule changed.
I mean, Des caught it, right? I mean, is this one of those things in 3 years they'll fix it and go, dang it, man, Cowboys lost another opportunity there?
You know, I don't think they will fix this one. I think it's going to remain that. They know what the rule is. It doesn't happen very often. Yesterday John Fossil said this is the 3rd time he's seen it. The other 2 instances, by the way, involved Mike McCarthy. So maybe it's the Mike McCarthy rule. But, it goes back to Leon Lett. I know it was a field goal, but a similar instance when Leon Lett shouldn't have touched the ball. It's instinct. blame Nashon Wright from touching the ball. It was right there. He was trying to make a play. I don't blame him at all. It was just bad luck, frankly. And I don't look for them to even talk about this rule in the offseason, to be honest.
Charean Williams, follow her on Twitter at NFL Charean. Obviously, read her at Pro Football Talk. Watch her on Peacock. Always great to talk to you. Love the insight, although I will stop my campaign. If you tell me they're not going to touch that rule, I'll stop talking about they need to change it.
Well, thank you, Jason. Thanks for having me on.
Always great stuff. Charean Williams from Pro Football Talk. And again, if you block a punt, the other team shouldn't get a first down. At least if they advance the ball and get past what would have been a first down, maybe there. I just don't see how you block a punt and don't end up with the football. Crazy, crazy rule. The contract is out for the new Texas Tech head coach. It is pretty interesting when you look at that and you compare that to what Jeff Traylor just signed with UTSA. We'll talk about that as we continue here on the Blitz. You know, nobody ever plans on getting arrested, but it does happen to a lot of people every day for all kinds of reasons. Whether it's you, a family member, a friend of yours, somebody you know gets arrested, you want to get out of jail fast. Best way to do that is to call my good friend Albert and his great staff at AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-2121. Text the word bail to 474747, or you can even start the bonding process online at mybestbailbonds.com. You don't have to call attorneys or anybody else to get out of jail, and you don't want to be forced into a PR bond. If the jail offers you a PR bond, make sure you really understand what all those conditions are before accepting it. Your best option, AA Best Bail Bonds. For stress-free bail bonds, because nobody beats their price. They have payment plans available, offer a free shuttle service. They're discreet and confidential and open 24/7. Offices all over San Antonio and Texas. Services nationwide. If you're down in the Valley, over in Corpus, up in Dallas, anywhere in between, license number 149. Call AA Best Bail Bonds at 210-225-2121 or go online, mybestbailbonds.com.
Get your college game on. Get ready for the fight songs. It's college football.
Touchdown! What a catch!
Hear it live on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Dig a trench, gravel the driveway, remove a tree stump. To tackle the big jobs, you need the power of Kubota. At Ewald Kubota, we have the tractors and construction equipment to get it done fast and get it done right. You've come to rely on the quality and dependability of Kubota compact tractors and implements, and at Ewald Kubota, rental equipment is available at all of our locations. Right now, all new rental customers get 10% off their first rental. For a store near you, visit ewaldkubota.com.
Jason Minix here for Alamo Water Softeners. Go to alamowatersofteners.com. Schedule one of their whole home specialists. Come out to your house for a free water analysis. And right now, Alamo Water Softeners is offering 0% financing for 2 years with approved credit. Take advantage of this same as cash offer on a water treatment bundle with special pricing to give your home the highest quality water treatment available. Discover the Alamo Water Softeners difference. Go to alamowatersofteners.com. That's alamowatersofteners.com. Rock the Mic is back at Slacker Sports and Arcade Bar. You know we've narrowed it down to our top 13. You've been voting online at sasportstar.com, and they're ready to show you what they've got. Join us at Slackers this week to help us decide on a winner, and you can enter to win Dallas Cowboys home game tickets. Wednesday, November 10th, we'll be at the Slackers New St. Mary's location, and on Thursday, we'll be at the Slackers Medical Center location. Rock the Mic 2021, brought to you by Slacker Sports and Arcade Bar, and in part by Jim Beam.
Been thinking about natural biologic therapies to treat your chronic joint pain? Meet Tyler Vale, co-founder of QC Kinetics.
To me, it is such an easy decision. If you are truly looking to avoid surgery and not treat yourself with Band-Aids like steroids and pain meds, then really there is no other option. And that's what I love so much about what I get to do.
QC Kinetics offers a variety of restorative natural options to rejuvenate the tissue in your joints and give you your life back.
When they come back a few months later, and it's so affirming to see their quality of life change in such a positive way.
Are you tired of the joint pain that keeps you from living your best life? Call QC Kinetics to learn more about these exciting restorative and regenerative options.
And you've been looking for an answer, something to avoid surgery. I'm just giving you the answer you've been looking for. QC Kinetics. Kinetics is energy in motion. We want to keep you in motion.
Get your free consultation today with QC Kinetics.
QC Kinetics, 210-571-0318 in Hollywood Park and Westover Hills. Call 210-571-0318. That's 210-571-0318.
Not all pizza places are the same. Mellow Mushroom originated hand-tossed, stone-baked classic Southern pizza. Not in the mood for pizza? Order a calzone, hoagie, sandwich, burger, or a mellow salad and see how care goes into every item on the menu. Take your pick from 24 draft beers and or handcrafted cocktails. And many of the pizzas can be made gluten-free or vegan. Mellow Mushroom is at 1604 in Stone Oak Parkway. Hang with friends, watch the game, and mellow out at Mellow Mushroom.
Hi, my name is Ted, and a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A Peppermint Chip Shake is when the peppermint shake is available, that's to me sort of announces that the holiday season is here. I guess most people count down the days until Christmas, but me, I count down the days until the shake comes out.
Hi, I'm Michaela, and a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A Peppermint Chip Milkshake is that first sip when you taste the peppermint chip pieces, it's like catching snowflakes on your tongue.
Share a peppermint chip milkshake from Chick-fil-A this holiday. Available for a limited time. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
Did you know that United Healthcare helps connect you to doctors and therapists with 24/7 access to virtual care?
So I could have therapy from my couch?
Yep.
Or a doctor appointment from my car?
If you wanted to.
Wait, you're right. I don't even like when people see me sing in the car. Couch appointment it is.
Virtual visits are just one of the ways United Healthcare helps connect you to better health. Learn more at uhc.com. Plan benefits may vary.
Saturday afternoons mean one thing: college football. Oh my God! Hear games from all Power 5 conferences all season long, every Saturday from San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
This is Rob Thompson on your home for Dallas Cowboys football. San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Make sure you do like I'm doing right now and go vote for Rock the Mic 2021. This is the we're coming up on the on the finale of the voting part of Rock the Mic. I think it ends tonight around midnight. And then tomorrow we're going to be at Slackers, the St. Mary's location. Then we are going to be on Thursday at the Slackers Medical Center location. And a lot of you are rallying to get your votes in. The contestants are getting there. If I'm looking at this correctly right now, we've got two people right now tied for first with 633 votes. Then you got one with 611. And then, there's a cliff for some of those other guys. Dude, there's a guy with one vote, man. Why do you get in it if you're not going to try to get out there and even vote for yourself? I guess, to the point, if you feel like you've got no chance of getting into the Final Four with voting. But that is why we have the Jim Beam wild card. See, the rest of us will get together and we'll pick who that wild card is. We're going to talk to a couple of them on Wednesday, a couple of them on Thursday while we're out at Slackers. And then next Thursday, we'll have the big finale. But you want to come out to Slackers tomorrow. The St. Mary's location is brand new. Brand new. We're giving away Cowboys Raiders tickets tomorrow. You have to be present to win. We will give them away at 7 o'clock. Same thing on Thursday. We'll have Cowboys Raiders tickets to give away. So we'll see you out at Slackers on Wednesday, Slackers on Thursday, the St. Mary's location tomorrow. Your chance to win Cowboys Raiders tickets for that Thanksgiving Day showdown. It's going to be a good time. The new contract for the Texas Tech head football coach, who's not named Jeff Traylor. The contract has been announced, and Joey McGuire's contract is a 6-year deal worth $20.2 million. Remember, Jeff Traylor signed a 10-year contract for $28 million, so about $2.8 million a year. Year one for McGuire is going to be $3 million. He's eligible for up to $1 million a year in bonuses, a $4.8 million assistant coach pool, and $1.85 pool for strength and support staff, which I think we all learned a little about going through the Jeff Traylor deal. His buyout from Baylor was only $250,000. When you look at it, it's more than what Jeff Traylor is making on a per-year deal, but it's only for 6. They're very similar contracts, which I think is what the concern was for UTSA and why they ponied up the way they did. one of the things I heard about Jeff Traylor is they wanted Jeff Traylor, but they also thought they could get him cheaper than, say, a Sonny Dykes or some of the other coaches out there. It's a very similar deal. I'm guessing probably a little bit more than what Texas Tech had offered Jeff Traylor, but Jeff Traylor, if he had a conversation with Tech, probably went back to UTSA and says, here's the deals, and, got a couple of years and a couple of dollars added to his deal. I think in both cases, both schools are extremely happy with the way things have ultimately turned out. We'll talk more about this coming up in a couple of minutes as we continue on here on the Blitz on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. College basketball starting tonight. You got the Spurs in action tomorrow. College football on Saturday. Aggies with the big one. The UTSA Roadrunners playing Saturday. The NFL games on Sunday. There's no better place to go watch those games than the Rue Pub at 281 in Redland Road. I've said many times, best place to go watch a game. And they got the big screens, those 3 massive 170-inch screens, TVs all around, and their kitchen is fantastic. You're going to eat well at the Rue Pub. They have the best wings in town, probably the biggest wings in town. About 15 different burgers on the menu. Great chicken sandwich. It's fried chicken sandwich. They go get a chicken sandwich over at the Rue Pub. Great salads, great appetizers. The kitchen is open until 2 a.m. every day with the full menu available. So if you're hungry late at night, don't go through a drive-thru. Get into the Rue Pub there at 281 in Redland Road. They have happy hour weekdays from 11 to 6. Great for lunch, great for dinner, great for late at night, and the best place to watch a game. The Rue Pub next to the Angry Elephant at 281 in Redland Road. We'll see you at the Rue.
San Antonio Sports Star Pro Football Pick'em. Online at sasportsstar.com. Can you pick the perfect matchups all season long? If so, you could win $50,000. Weekly winners score gift cards to Pinkerton's Barbecue and the Mellow Mushroom. For official contest rules and to play, visit sasportsstar.com. Must be at least 21 years old to play this nationwide contest. One winner will be selected at the end of the season. The Pro Football Challenge from San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
When it comes to social distancing, if 6 feet is not enough with your spouse, it's probably time to change your status. Call DivorceDude.com at 210-201-0303 and ask for Mark, the Divorce Dude with Pulling Law PLLC. DivorceDude.com can help you get a fast, affordable, agreed divorce. But if you want to fight, the Divorce Dude can fight for you. DivorceDude.com gives you easy legal options and sticks with you every step of the way. If the marriage is over, why fight? DivorceDude.com.
Whether you're vaccinated or not, it's important to know the symptoms of COVID and its variants. Fever is the leading sign of COVID and the flu, so make sure you use an accurate thermometer. Only the Exergen Temporal Scanner Thermometer has been proven accurate with more than 100 clinical studies. Non-contact thermometers have no clinical evidence behind them and are not reliable. Be vigilant and seek medical advice at the first sign of fever. Learn more at Exergen.com.
If you can't sleep because of annoying knee pain, that's a problem. If you stop running because your feet always hurt, that's a problem. If your elbow, shoulder, and neck pain make it impossible for you to do your job, that is a problem, and it's time to finally do something about it. I'm Dr. Jason Garrett from Arasti. At Arasti, we fix pain fast. No medications, no injections. Arasti treatment is completely natural and non-invasive. Plus, we accept most insurance plans. There's a location near you. Visit Arasti.com. That's AIRROSTI.com. Arasti, we fix pain fast.
For the ones finding new ways to ensure the job always gets done. For the ones wearing many hats. For the ones who are hands-on, even from far away. And the ones keeping business moving forward. We are Grainger, offering supplies and solutions for every industry, with 24/7 support and experienced staff at over 250 local branches. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Did you know that United Healthcare helps connect you to doctors and therapists with 24/7 access to virtual care?
So I could have therapy from my couch?
Yep.
Or a bar?
If you wanted to.
Wait, you're right. I don't even like when people see me sing in the car. Couch appointment it is.
Virtual visits are just one of the ways United Healthcare helps connect you to better health. Learn more at uhc.com. Plan benefits may vary.
This is the home of the Cowboys, Rangers, and Aggie football. KCDC, San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN, AM 1250 and 94.5 FM. plays in minutes. The Blitz.
It is the Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. It's a Tuesday. That means it's time to talk some injuries. Our injury update powered by the Sports Institute at TSAOG Orthopedics. You can learn more at tsaog.com. Let's welcome in Dr. David Espinosa. Dr. Espinosa, I know you're pinch hitting today as well, man. Appreciate the time.
Absolutely. Always a pleasure being with you guys here.
You know, Dak Prescott said his calf injury had nothing to do with his poor play Sunday against the Denver Broncos. From a medical standpoint, do you buy that?
Well, so looking at the way he was able to scramble, now, all in all, I mean, throughout the season, even before the calf injury, you know, he hasn't been running nearly as much, and I imagine that's because of almost maybe a post-traumatic stress from the ankle, you know, injury last year. But, you know, when he was having to scramble a little bit around the pocket, you know, he actually looked pretty good, that he was moving fairly well. But there is a possibility, you know, that it was just affecting kind of his plant leg and how he was able to get enough velocity on his throws and such. So it is possible that it could have still affected him, but it doesn't seem like it was too much.
Speaking of Cowboys and calves, Michael Gallup is expected to play this week against the Atlanta Falcons. He hasn't played since week 1 because of a strained calf. As long as he's been off, do you expect him to be 100%, or do you need it, or do you think it will take him a little bit of time to work back in?
I would say, you know, just how long he's been out, they probably will ease him back in, and with the development of Wilson and how well he's been playing as the third receiver, I imagine they have a little bit more leeway before, you know, throwing it all back on Michael Gallup. So I imagine they'll kind of progress him back in a stepwise manner based on how he's feeling and how the calf responds.
Dr. David Espinosa with us here on the Blitz for our injury update. Dr. Espinosa, I'm going to take advantage of your expertise here as we're talking about calves on a personal level. I started working out about 2 months ago, and I'm sore everywhere. But I feel like, I don't know if I've strained a calf, but sometimes, you know, like the back of my knee down, sometimes the pain is incredible, and I feel like I've just got a knot right in the middle of my calf. When you're talking about a calf strain, is that kind of what that is?
To a degree, right? So makes me wonder what kind of exercises they're going on there. But, you know, depending on what happened, how it happened, and the amount of pain that somebody's in, as well as swelling, bruising, all kind of give, I guess symptoms of how severe the injury is, right? And given that Michael Gallup's been out for, you know, 8 weeks, 9 weeks, I mean, I imagine that he probably had a pretty impressive one. But when we're starting to feel more knots and kind of tightness in the back of the knee and then the calf muscle, then probably dealing with either spasms or more of a grade 1 type of variety.
Yeah, I've been going to F45s every day. It's different kind of exercises, and I don't know. They all kind of hurt, if you ask me.
Yeah, that's fair.
Fair enough. Now, we hear a lot about high ankle sprains. Trevor Lawrence had a low ankle sprain in the Jaguars win over the Buffalo Bills. They don't expect him to miss any time. Now I understand the difference between a high ankle sprain and a regular ankle sprain, but, you know, if you're playing quarterback in the NFL, any kind of tenderness with your ankle could be a bit of a problem, especially if it's on your plant leg. Are you surprised with that kind of with any kind of an ankle sprain that he wouldn't be even considered to be questionable for this week's game?
Yeah, so this one, I think they'll take it day by day, right, and see how it evolves once he gets back out on the practice field. And because you're exactly right, you know, it's a different animal playing, you know, in the NFL, and you know, even if he was a stationary quarterback, then you'd probably be a little bit easier to get away with it. But if a big part of his game is scrambling, moving around, and if the offensive line play isn't great and he's going to have to be mobile, that may play a role for sure. And so it'll kind of depend on how it shakes out. But it is possible for him to have just a low grade sprain where they may be able to just tape him up and get him out there.
Is that really a sprain, or is that sometimes you see somebody and you call it kind of like you smarted your ankle a little bit? I mean, it kind of hurts for a few seconds, but then you're okay.
Yeah, so that's kind of where it kind of gets into some of the nitty gritty. I mean, I guess once you kind of get into the medical terminology, it's like you have it or you don't, So even if it's a small tweak or a little twinge, well, you kind of got to call it something,
Well, exactly. Justin Verlander. It's been a while since we've talked about Justin Verlander, and obviously he didn't play last year for the Houston Astros. He had that Tommy John surgery. You look at a guy that's 38 years old. He had a showcase, if you will. About 15 to 20 teams were told were in attendance, and the Astros have offered him $18 million as a qualifying offer, and he's having to decide if he wants $18 million or if he thinks he can get more. But he was throwing 96 miles an hour. Now, obviously he's rehabbing from Tommy John, and if he wants to audition for a bunch of teams, you figure he's feeling pretty good. I'm kind of surprised to hear he was throwing 96. Does that surprise you? Or at 38 coming up, Tommy John, that's what you'd expect to hear from Justin Verlander.
Right. So it is definitely impressive. Now I'm less impressed that it's after Tommy John, but I'm more impressed that he's 38 and doing that. That's what's a little bit more impressive. That kind of speaks to the volume as to how well he keeps his body in shape and all the things that he's doing on the back end, whether it be nutrition or diet or, just the therapy and the working out and everything to kind of keep his body in shape to do that, which I think is even more impressive.
Well, and again, the surgery was October 1st of last year, so you're basically 13 months removed.
Absolutely, yeah. So that's, again, usually with that time frame after Tommy John, we would expect him to be able to return to throwing at about anywhere from 9 months to a year. So 13 months is about where we would expect that. But again, to be out there throwing 96-mile-an-hour heaters, that's impressive.
Yeah. Yeah, and probably end up with more than $18 million, which is incredible. Dr. David Espinosa joining us here on the Blitz for our injury update. Want to circle back to the Cowboys before we let you go. No Tyron Smith last week, bone spurs in his ankle. They don't heal with just rest, do they?
Yeah, so bone spurs is a very vague terminology that gets thrown around quite a bit. And that can range anywhere from chronic arthritis type of changes in the joints, all the way up to calcified tendon that can be around in the ankle joint. And so there's a fairly wide range of what is actually ailing him. And then sometimes these quote unquote bone spurs can actually have a stress reaction component, which is almost like a stress fracture. And so really kind of depends on exactly what they're talking about. But, with these reports, they sometimes like to keep it vague. So that way I imagine, placed a strategy component at some point. But, so it kind of is going to depend on how he responds to the therapy, the bracing, and then see when he's able to get back in there.
Dr. David Espinosa from TSAOG Orthopedics. Always appreciate the insight.
Yeah, always a great time. Thanks for having me, fellas.
TSAOG.com is the website for the Sports Institute at TSAOG Orthopedics. You're dealing with any kind of injury, that's where you need to go. Start online at TSAOG.com. And I go back to trying to figure out really what is going on with Tyron Smith, because I didn't think bone spurs, and that could be a lot of things. And we were told, he didn't have a high ankle sprain coupled with bone spurs. We were told it was just bone spurs, right? But I hear Dr. Jerry and, Dr. Jerry Jones on 105.3 The Fan this morning talking about Tyron's ability to play this week against the Atlanta Falcons.
We'll see. That is one they'll continue to take a look at. It'll be dictated by the the amount of frankly, pain that he can withstand there. And it is really not a lot you can do other than rest it and try it. And it's one that if he stays, it will get better, whether he's on it or not on it. It will get better as we go along. So I don't look at it as long term.
All right, but I thought with bone spurs, they get better when you get them removed surgically, unless you're dealing with something else. And that's what makes me wonder about some of the conflicting reports we're getting about Tyron Smith. Rest, all right. Pain tolerance, I totally get that. We've been following Tyron Smith's career for a long, long time. Nobody's going to question that man's pain tolerance, right? But if he can tolerate the pain this week, is it going to be any better than last week against the Denver Broncos and what was a disaster of a game? And you think about the 2 games that the Cowboys have lost this year. One game was without Zach Martin, and then they lose a game without Tyron Smith. They win a game without Dak Prescott. But you can't win without those 2 key offensive linemen. You talk about the importance of them. For weeks we've been applauding the incredible play of Terrence Steele playing in place of La'el Collins this year. And I'm not trying to take away anything from Terrence Steele. What that kid has done is incredible and impressive. And he deserved all the accolades he got over those 5 weeks, 6 weeks playing in place of La'el Collins at right tackle. But he was a dumpster fire against the Broncos at left tackle. And if Tyron doesn't play this week, the Cowboys' plan is to put Terrence Steele back at left tackle.
I would, yes. But I wouldn't. That's just anticipate. That's not a done deal at all.
Yeah.
But he did some good things.
What?
He did some real good things.
He helped Dak up.
But across the board in our offensive line, we had breakdowns, and which is rare. And give the Denver team a lot of credit. They just they kept coming and put some pressure on us there in that offensive line.
And maybe I'm being a little too critical. I promise you, I am not one to judge offensive line play. I don't know a damn thing about playing offensive line and what the combinations are. I know when I see a guy get beat. I know when I see a Terrence Steele in our seats that at the Cowboys game, our end zone seats, so it's like the all-22. And I'll tell you what, Terrence Steele might be one of the most polite teammates that Dak Prescott has, because every time Terrence Steele got beat, which seemed like every other play, whether he gave up the sack or Dak just got hit, Terrence Steele is the first one there to help up his quarterback. I mean, he is standing right there, just looking down at Dak, who's laying on the ground, and he helps his quarterback up every time. I mean, every time. The problem is I saw it too many times, and I didn't see that when he was playing on the right side. Now, Pledge, who was it who used the example of wiping with the other hand?
I know RJ's used it before.
No. I mean, he was quoting somebody, but somebody did use that recently. Somebody of note. And I forget who. But going from the right side to the left side was described as trying to wipe with the other hand. Now, I haven't gone to try it just to test out the theory. I'm afraid to think what might happen, right?
Oh, you got to try
it. We all have our routines. I don't want to know if you've tried it or not, quite frankly. I just think of the idea of that just sounds horrific, right? I mean, just nothing good is going to come out of that experiment. I'll try writing with my left hand. I might even swing a golf club with my left hand before I tried wiping with my left hand. But talking to enough offensive linemen, there is that major of an adjustment. And maybe Terrence Steele, after 1 week of it, could figure it out before they play the Atlanta Falcons. But I what I'm worried about is a flashback to a couple of years ago when Tyron Smith did not play against the Atlanta Falcons, And the backup tackle ended up being a turnstile. Some dude got like 6 sacks and a gazillion-dollar contract extension and turned out to be a bust. I mean, I just hope, what was it? Was it Chaz Green?
It was Chaz Green, and the defensive lineman was Adrian Claiborne, and you're talking about the burning of Atlanta.
Yeah. I was trying not to go into too many details, and I didn't want to slander Chaz Green, but I mean, I hope he got a cut of Claiborne's deal, because Chaz Green by himself made that man millions of dollars and damn near got a quarterback killed. And you think about the importance of playing left tackle. I know there's a lot of confidence in Terrence Steele, but I do wonder, as bad as the game felt watching it. Now, I'll default to the Cowboys coaches, their offensive line coaches, Mike McCarthy, all those boys. But I'll tell you what, I think I would rather see Tyron Smith play left tackle this week against Atlanta, because at least Tyron Smith has played left tackle in the NFL. He was brought in to be the swing tackle. I know that Terrence Steele outplayed him in training camp, and I know that Terrence Steele was the better option at right tackle. But with what we saw against the Denver Broncos on Sunday, I do not know that Terrence Steele is the best option at left tackle for the second week in a row. And I can't imagine that putting Tyron Smith in there would be any worse than what we saw from Terrence Steele. It might be just as bad, but it would be a different bad. And if it wasn't working, then you put Terrence Steele in there. I mean, you look at it and you go, what are your options? Or Tyron Smith, if it's a pain tolerance thing, I would expect that man to be out there unless the option was cut it off and let him go play. Because we have seen Tyron Smith through the years play through all kinds of things. So if it's pain tolerance and it's going on week 2, then why don't you just go get the surgery and get it done? Because from bone spurs, from what I understand, my medical degree, whatever, I mean,
I trust
you heard from Dr. Jerry. We talk to these docs every week. The osmosis is creeping in. For everything that I've heard is it won't get better with rest, even though Jerry just said that, which makes me wonder, is it just bone spurs? You know, there were some initial reports that he'd been dealing with bone spurs, but then had a high ankle sprain. But the Cowboys have quickly squashed all that talk, and it's just bone spurs. But if you tell me if it's just a pain tolerance thing, I imagine Tyron Smith will be out there, especially after what he saw Terrence Steele go through. And I hated that for Terrence Steele because he has had such a great season. Or do you just chalk it up to he was just 1 of 22 that had an awful, awful Sunday? And maybe that's what it is. The one thing that's going to be interesting, too, if you're going up to Dallas this weekend, how many Falcons are going to be in that building? How many Falcon fans are going to be inside of AT&T Stadium? You know, I've said many times, and I've been fortunate enough to go to a lot of Dallas Cowboy games. And every fan base travels well to Dallas. There's always a bunch of people wearing the other team's jersey. And my goodness, I mean, you're at the Cowboys Broncos game and you see people rolling in Raiders jerseys or Seahawks jerseys or, you know, whatever jerseys. Because, you know, if you're going to an NFL game, you have to wear the shirt of your favorite team, whether your favorite team is playing or not. But that's one of the draws of Jerry World. It is a destination type of place. And it's not like the Cowboys and Broncos play every year. But Jerry was asked when he was on 105.3 The Fan today if it bothered him having that many Denver Bronco fans in the building.
Well, I'm actually, I like the way the ticket situation is in the NFL today, and you have a tremendous secondary market. And that is not under the control of any team or any league. And it's healthy and it's good. And frankly, we're a good game for fans to come to. We're in the central part of the country. We're lucky to have such a great venue, and of course, we're playing well this year. With all of that in mind, that's right where I wanted to be. Now, but let's just be candid. We didn't have a lot to cheer about out there Sunday.
I think that was the smartest thing that Jerry Jones said today on 105.3 The Fan. There were a lot of Bronco fans in that building. There was a lot of orange. But I've seen more Packer fans in that building. I've seen more Texans fans in that building. But I've heard from a lot of Bronco fans talking about how loud it was. And they're right. They were chanting. They were singing. They were celebrating. It was 30-0. By the fourth quarter, that lower level, it was, basically all orange. Cowboy fans had left. I mean, that game ended just after 3. We had a 4:45 flight. I've left that stadium and sat in traffic for an hour. We were at the airport at 4:09 because so many Cowboy fans left early. That might have been the only bright spot. The one time in forever that your Southwest flight wasn't delayed was when I was banking on it being delayed, going, well, it's 4:45, probably won't leave till 5:30, so we're good. Nothing to worry about. It was on time. But so many fans left early, it was not an issue getting in. And I think Jerry actually hits the nail on the head.
Now, but let's just be candid. We didn't have a lot to cheer about out there Sunday.
Yeah, there was nothing to cheer about. Lee Greenwood at halftime was the best part of that day. Being in that building, hearing him sing that song live, all the military they had out there, that made the trip up there worth it. The Medal of Honor winners that they celebrated, that made the trip worth it. The game itself, that was ugly. Ugly, ugly, ugly. But I thought it was interesting because, Jerry is a great businessman. He was asked if it bothered him that so many Cowboy fans sold their tickets to Denver Bronco fans or to fans of any opposing team. Because as I've said, I've been in that stadium enough. I've never been in that stadium where it felt like it was 90-95% Cowboy fans. Cowboy fans make a lot of money selling their tickets.
No. And of course, our tickets are owned. Our fans own those seats. They own seat license for the most part. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the things they get to do. They can choose who they want in that seat or who gets in that seat. And they can choose that for the next 20 years.
Yeah, because I've already got their money. And if they sell a ticket or two and that pays for their season tickets, more power to them. I mean, he is totally on board with everybody making a little bit of money because, I get the feeling that Jerry, when he shows up at the game, in fact, we saw him, we were in traffic going to the game and we saw his helicopter flying over and it kind of circles the stadium. And, we were joking in the car going, do you think he's just up there in his helicopter looking down at all the people going, you're a sucker, you're a sucker, you're a sucker, because the Cowboys have done the math that everybody walking into this stadium equals X number of dollars, right? I don't know if it's $100, $80, $200. I mean, when you look at, the Cowboys get their ass kicked in the game and there's a line to the store as you're exiting, right? You realize you can go to Academy, you can go to HEB, you can go out DallasCowboys.com. Why do you want to go stand in line to buy something at the stadium store, right? Although
more expensive.
I got a really nice $38 T-shirt. I mean, you look at it and you sit there and do you think he just flies around going, got your dollar, got your dollar, got your dollar, got your dollar, we're going to be able to pay rent this month, Steven. Look at all those people coming in there. You're coming to put on a show and you come out flat like that. That is what bothers Jerry Jones because they did. There was nothing to cheer about. The energy in that building was non-existent for Cowboy fans. And quite frankly, it was that way from the beginning. It was a strange Sunday at Jerry World and a strange Sunday throughout the NFL. bounce back week for the Cowboys is they've got the Falcons this week. And then the start of what we all thought was going to be a pretty tough stretch with Kansas City on the road, the Raiders at home on Thanksgiving, and then, of course, a week later, you've got the New Orleans Saints. Everybody gets a clunker. That was the Cowboys. It better have been the Cowboys. Pledge, you look like you're ready to drop something.
Oh, you hope so. But Vic Fangio says they were exposed. The blueprint's been laid out.
Yeah, sure. If you were that much of a master, your team would be far better than it is, Vic Fangio, but I'm glad you could pat yourself on the back. Celebrate it. If you're a Denver Bronco fan, celebrate it. Celebrate it. What I appreciate about this Dallas Cowboys team, their players, hell, the fans, there's no excuses. There wasn't anybody that I've heard say, well, this happened, and because of this, that happened, and we lost the game here. Oh, bad call from there. I mean, you look at Bears fans complaining about the officiating last night, cost them a win. Cowboy fans, Cowboy players, Cowboys coaches, we got our ass kicked. Plain and simple. Denver came in with a great plan, and they executed. But if those two teams lined up and played 10 times, what do you think? The Cowboys go 8-2? Cowboys had a bad day all the way around.
But the blueprint.
Micah Parsons played pretty good. I mean, you know it's not your day when you block a punt and the other team ends up with a first down. Just saying. It is the Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. You know it's going to get cold. You need that winter gear, especially if you're a business owner, a manager, a club leader, and you need your logo on winter gear. You need to get into Sammy's Embroidery Club down on San Pedro. Sam has his winter line on display in that showroom. Jackets, coats, hoodies, half zips, beanies, and he's got all the big name brands, North Face, Eddie Bauer, Nike, Port Authority, and Sam has plenty of inventory in stock, including hats. Well, you need hats. He's got the largest selection of caps anywhere, including the popular Richardson style cap, and he's got them in stock. Sam has plenty of inventory. Not many can say that. Sam can. He's got the inventory. In fact, you need uniforms done. He has over 700 uniform lines to choose from, and not just embroidery, silkscreen shirts as well for any occasion. Sammy's Embroidery and Printing. Nobody has better prices. Sam has all the big name brands. All items do come with a warranty. He's the only company in Texas with 1-day turnaround. No order too big, no order too small. You need 1 item, 10 items, 250 items, 3,000 items, 7,100 items. You need 12. It doesn't matter. Sam will get the job done for you. You can call Sammy's Embroidery Club at 210-824-3900. 824-3900, or better yet, get into that massive showroom. It's down on San Pedro, 1 mile inside Loop 410, next to Big Lots across from McDonald's. Go to the website, samsembroidery.com, for Sammy's Embroidery Club. Let's get a Sports Center update from James Pledger.
Thanks, Jason. As the Dallas Cowboys look to bounce back from that ugly loss to Denver, they may have to do it without kicker Greg Zerline, who's been placed on the reserve COVID-19 list today. The Cowboys have worked out kickers Brett Maher and Liram Hajiralu. The Houston Texans claim running back Royce Freeman from the Carolina Panthers off waivers. The Texans now have a backfield that includes Freeman, Rex Burkhead, Scotty Phillips, Phillip Lindsay, and David Johnson. In college hoops, the season opens today as the Texas State Bobcats are in town to take on the Incarnate Word Cardinals, with tip-off set for 6:30. The UTSA Roadrunners take on the Trinity Tigers at the Convocation Center at 7:30. Texas Tech starts the Mark Adams tenure as they welcome North Florida into Lubbock for a 7 o'clock tip. And Chris Beard will start his tenure at the University of Texas as the 5th-ranked Longhorns welcome Houston Baptist into the Frank Irwin Center for an 8 o'clock tip. In Major League Baseball, Astros third baseman Alex Bregman underwent wrist surgery and is expected to be ready for the start of spring training. Astros starting pitcher Luis Garcia was named one of the AL Rookie of the Year finalists, and manager Dusty Baker was named one of the AL Manager of the Year finalists. The Sports Center update brought to you by Alamo Water Softeners. I'm James Pledger.
ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
How's your cell phone coverage? How's your cell phone bill? You know, a lot of big carriers overcharge you for unlimited data. They brag about coverage, but that's only if you live in the city. This is Greg Akagi. I've been an agriculture director for over 20 years, and I know what people outside the city need. Pure Talk. Pure Talk gives you great 5G coverage for about half of what Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile charge you. The average family saves over $800 a year. You can keep your number and keep your phone, or save on the latest iPhones and Androids. Unlimited talk, text, and 6 gigs of data is just $30 a month. Or if you want unlimited data, you can still save a fortune. With their U.S.-based customer service, I believe in the way Pure Talk treats their customers. Plus, they have a 30-day risk-free guarantee, so you literally have nothing to lose. From your cell phone, dial pound 250 and say half off, and you'll save 50% off your first month. That's pound 250 and say half off.
If you're thinking about a compact tractor and you want the best, you can afford a Kubota. Hi, I'm John Ewald with Ewald Kubota. Come into one of our 10 locations and check out the Kubota L2501 tractor package deal, which includes a 4-wheel drive tractor with a hydrostatic transmission, a front loader, a rear mower, a box blade, and a trailer, all for one low price. With a deal this good, you can afford a Kubota from Ewald Kubota. Check out our package deals at ewaldkubota.com.
Your source to local news and sports in San Antonio begins with the San Antonio Express News. We've collected, written, and shown the stories that matter most to San Antonio. Look no further than the San Antonio Express News to continue to provide information and strength to the community. Whether it's on the field or on a court, we provide the ground local coverage. Go to expressnews.com for the most up-to-date high school and college sports coverage. Subscribe today at expressnews.com.
Guys, stop what you're doing. Give me a few seconds of your time and let me give you a piece of advice that will change your love life forever. Have you noticed you've been losing a little pep in your step? Has your lady friend asked you, is everything okay? Do you find yourself having trouble rising for the occasion? Do you stress out before that special moment and wonder, is it gonna work? Guys, I'm going to let you in on a big secret. You don't ever have to worry again. The Mojo Male Enhancement Formula has you covered. Mojo is the 100% guaranteed male enhancement formula that guarantees lasting success, if you know what I mean. The Mojo Male Enhancement Formula is safe, natural, and effective every single time, guaranteed. Mojo is available in a fast-acting spray and a quick-action capsule. Do yourself and her a favor and call Pureline Nutrition in San Antonio today. They'll get you set up for success. Call 210-494-2210. That number again is 210-494-2210. Mojo Male Enhancement, only available at Pureline Nutrition.
O'Reilly. Don't miss See Better, Drive Safer month at O'Reilly Auto Parts with great deals on wiper blades, headlight bulbs, and more. Right now, get up to a $20 gift card after mail-in rebate with the purchase of select Sylvania bulbs. Plus, earn double O Rewards points with your purchase. Get ready for the weather ahead during See Better, Drive Safer month at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
When you needed your mom, she was always there with the Vicks Vapor Rub. She used that soothing scent to calm you. And her mom used it to calm her. And her mom, well, you get the idea. Vicks Vapor Rub's always been there. It always made you feel better. And today, it still does. Bring back those childhood memories with the comfort and care only Vicks Vapor Rub can bring. Vicks Vapor Rub, family tradition for a reason.
Jason Minix, The Blitz.
It is The Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. I'm Jason Minix. You can tweet at me at Jason Minix. James Pledger producing as always. You can tweet at him at I am Pledger. You can always dial up the Kia Boss and Bacon phone lines 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776. You can win Cowboy tickets to every home game this season just by registering at sasportstar.com. Lots you can do there at sasportstar.com. Register to win those Cowboy tickets. And right now, you want to vote for Rock the Mic. You get there now. Voting ends at midnight tonight. Tomorrow we're going to be at Slacker Sports and Arcade Bar, their St. Mary's location, and we'll start talking to some of the finalists or semifinalists, whatever the hell we're calling them, those that make it into the final cut based on vote. And then, of course, the Jim Beam wild card. Slacker Sports and Arcade Bar tomorrow. We will give away a pair of tickets to the Cowboys-Raiders Thanksgiving Day game. Must be present to win. So come hang out with us tomorrow down at Slackers on St. Mary's. Tomorrow is where we're going to be. We'll meet a couple of the Rock the Mic contestants that have made it this far. And again, next week we'll crown the champion. It's crazy to think that we're already at that stage, but we can't get ahead. You can still determine the outcome by going and getting your vote in for Rock the Mic 2021. Do that now. You've got till midnight. sasportstar.com is the website. Get your vote in. Rock the Mic, brought to you by Slackers and in part by Jim Beam. Watch it's college basketball right now. Michigan State's leading Kansas. Oh, no, Kansas is now leading Michigan State 25-24 as the college hoop season is officially underway. And, it's interesting is, college basketball is back. Fans are everywhere. Talking to Charean Williams earlier, she mentioned the high number of COVID positives and a lot stemming from Halloween, or seemingly, in this time frame. Now we're at the 9th, a lot of people at Halloween parties. Where did it go? And of course, Aaron Rodgers tested positive right after he was seen without a mask on at a Halloween party. And Friday, he went on the Pat McAfee show while he was quarantined at his lovely Green Bay estate. He went on Pat McAfee again today. A very different tone for Aaron Rodgers, who really doesn't seem like he wants to talk COVID anymore.
That is, Pat. I'm an athlete. I'm not an activist. So I'm going to get back to doing what I do best. And that's playing ball. Like, I shared my opinion. It wasn't one that was come to frivolously. It involved a lot of study and what I felt like was in my best interest for my body. But further comments, I'm going to keep between myself and my doctors, and I don't have any further comments about any of those things after this interview.
So that's good, because I think it is. Aaron Rodgers said that he is feeling much better. He did have a day or two where he did not feel good, but he is getting very good care, very, very good care. But the part of the what's the word? Aaron Rodgers used the term immunized when asked if he was vaccinated when he returned to the team. A lot of people have criticized Aaron Rodgers for flat out lying. I don't know that I would call this an apology, but I think it's as close you're going to get to an apology from Aaron Rodgers for apologizing. And he gets to it at an end as he kind of talks about what the week has been like at his wonderful Green Bay estate.
I'm feeling really good. I'm definitely fortunate to have the type of care that I've been able to have. I know it's special and it's helped me get through this better. Also know that it hasn't been like that for everybody. I know this isn't a difficult time for so many people dealing with COVID, and it's been a tough 2 years for a lot of people. This has definitely been a time of a lot of reflection. I've had time to think about a lot of things in my silence here, in my quarantine inside. I'm obviously in Green Bay, not in LA as was reported. I have been at my house for my quarantine. Look, jokes aside, I understand that people are suffering, and this has been a really difficult time for the last 2 years on so many people. I think we all know individuals who've lost their lives personally, people who've lost their businesses, their livelihoods, their way of life has been altered completely. And I empathize with those things. And I also know how sports can be such a connector and bring people together in times of adversity. And I do realize that I am a role model to a lot of people. And so I just want to start off this show by acknowledging that, I made some comments that people might have felt were misleading. And, to anybody who felt misled by those comments, I take full responsibility for those comments.
So is that an apology? I mean, if you didn't feel misled, is he not taking responsibility for those comments? I mean, he's a smart guy. Nobody is taking that away from Aaron Rodgers. And he knew if he used the term immunized, that most people would take that as he was vaccinated. To where he was putting on a charade, to where if he truly was following all the protocols while inside the facility, except for when he was doing his media obligations, it was to carry on the charade. He didn't want the backlash of being unvaccinated. I don't think he likes being, as he put it Friday in his comments, kind of being a champion for one side and a cancel culture type for the other. He didn't want to be that guy. I mean, he did. You kind of go back to, Michael Jordan back in the day wanted nothing to do with politics because, he wants to sell shoes to everybody, right? I don't think Aaron Rodgers wants to be in the middle of any kind of political firestorm. And I don't blame him. Except on Friday, he went through the playbook and used every line that he could from the anti-vax movement, even though he said he wasn't anti-vax. I mean, he even threw Kyrie in there with the flat earther. I'm not one of those. I mean, and then today's was such a completely different tone from Aaron Rodgers. And maybe sitting in his house alone for a couple days while he said he doesn't really pay attention to much of the media. He certainly seemed to know a lot about all the various reports that have been about him. Because even when they say they don't read the clippings, they read the clippings. They listen. They hear what is said. They watch TV. I mean, he's an athlete. You think the guy's not watching Sports Center? You don't think you go into any NFL facility and on one TV they've got ESPN, on another TV they've got the NFL Network, on another TV they've got Fox with Skip and Shannon, and another TV probably has CBS Sports Network. I mean, you walk into any of these facilities and that's what's on all the TVs. Whether you're talking about the TVs in the dining hall or in the locker room, I don't care if you're talking about a baseball clubhouse, an NFL locker room, a college facility, that's what's on. I mean, they're not on USA watching reruns of NCIS or Chicago Fire. I mean, they're on all the sports channels. These are all sports guys. That's what they do. That's part of what they do. At his house, quarantined alone, I'm sure he gets angry at always being a part of the conversation. Maybe he turns it off and picks up a book because he did say he's done a lot of reading. I know he's a very smart guy. That was not an apology, but an admittance of, if you think I lied to you, yeah, I did. And if you liked my approach, I'm with you there too. That was what Aaron Rodgers did today on the Pat McAfee show. Very interesting stuff. And it is kind of, when you start seeing all the different players hitting the COVID list in a variety of sports, especially other parts of the country where it has already gotten extremely cold. Flu is, we're told, going to be bad again this year, or worse, because people are out. You've got a college game this weekend has already been canceled. The USC Cal game is postponed due to COVID cases amongst the Cal program. The interesting thing there, I mean, Cal didn't have enough guys really for Saturday's game against Arizona, but Arizona sucks, so they went ahead and played that game. Arizona State whooped up on USC this past weekend, but neither one of those teams are going anywhere, and they're not moving games around this year. So it's It's just been postponed. Cal said it had contacted the Pac-12 about making the game up at a later date. If granted, it would likely take place December 4th, the day before the Pac-12 title game, which neither of these schools are going to be a part of. So, I mean, they did that a couple of years ago where they had to move a game that was postponed because of poor air quality. It'll be interesting to see if they do try to get this game made up. And Cal is a team that boasts a 99% vaccination rate amongst players. You've got the Dallas Cowboys dealing with a little COVID this week. Greg Zerline has hit the protocols. Vaccinated, but have you seen anybody on Tuesday get back in time to play in a game that Sunday to return those 2 negative tests? I don't think we've seen that yet this year, even though that's part of the rules. So we will see. And I get my booster shot tomorrow morning, 8:30. Interesting. I've got needle fear. I also have a fear of a messy garage. An unorganized, messy garage drives me nuts. And when I moved into our new house, my garage in the new house much smaller than in the old house. And I needed a solution for just organization. I mean, I was able to get 2 cars in, but even like my wife's car, because I put in some cheap shelves along the side, you had to get out in the driveway to be able to get into the garage, and you had to, be very perfect. So my neighbor got some garage organization stuff done from a company called Garageanization. He got some overhead racks, some shelves, slat walls, all kinds of cool stuff. I loved what they did in my neighbor Hal's garage, so I called Garageanization, and they came out to my house, and we talked about what I needed. And I got a couple of nice shelves that have some adjustable bars underneath with hooks and whatnot. So you've got your shelf with the long-term storage on the shelf, obviously, but you're able to utilize the space below. Fantastic. So both cars in, you can get in and out of both cars, both doors. I mean, it's great. Golf clubs in there. If you need to organize your garage, call Garageanization at 210-664-4494, and you can ask them about their shelves, their overhead racks, clothes storage, slat walls. Make your garage functional for the entire family. Think about getting your both cars in there, your golf clubs, the kids' bikes, all of it. Garageanization is a veteran-owned organization, and they've been helping San Antonians love their garage since 2008. Call them and have them come give you a customized plan for your garage with all the various options that you have. And don't forget about the garage floor. Get that thing sealed for more reasons than just to make it look good. Call Garageanization at 210-664-4494 or learn more on their website, garageorganizationsanantonio.com. That's garageorganizationsanantonio.com.
This is the place where time stands still. With each down, there's a battle of inches.
How about 83 yards from Prescott to Elliott?
This is San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
At Manrique Custom Vision, you'll find some people just aren't good candidates for Z-LASIK. That's why they have different technologies for different patients. They are a custom vision center focused on helping people get rid of their glasses and contacts. Rudy J here. Call them today for a complimentary consultation to see what's right for you. Financing is offered to all FSA and medical spending accounts accepted. Get treated like family by Dr. Manrique. Call 354-2020 for the Manrique difference. That's 354-2020.
If your spouse's search history includes single and ready to mingle, you may want to reboot your situation. Call DivorceDude.com at 210-201-0303 and ask for Mark, the Divorce Dude with Polling Law PLLC. DivorceDude.com can help you get a fast, affordable agreed divorce. But if you want to fight, the Divorce Dude can fight for you. DivorceDude.com gives you easy legal options and sticks with you every step of the way. If the marriage is over, why fight? DivorceDude.com.
Running a small business means just that, always running.
Woo, you're not kidding.
Which is why this holiday, while the other guys, not mentioning any names, are kicking it back, we'll be kicking it into gear by leaving our doors open for you. So whatever the ing you need this holiday, whether it's packing, shipping, or mailboxing, we'll be right here waiting.
Now that's an ing worth celebrating.
The UPS Store, every ink for small business, all in one place.
The UPS Store.
The UPS store locations are independently owned. Product, services, pricing, and hours may vary. See Center for details.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
At CDW, we get workflow challenges.
To keep projects on schedule, I use sarcasm. 3 weeks to edit and email a document. Great job, team.
CDW experts have a better solution. Adobe Acrobat DC, integrated with Microsoft tools, will digitize documents and create more efficient PDF workflows across your organization.
Great idea. No, I really mean it.
To accelerate workflows, trust Adobe and IT orchestration by CDW. People who get it. Find out more at cdw.com/acrobat.
Get Diamonds Direct's unbeatable price, plus an extra 20% off virtually everything. Yes! It's happening next weekend, November 19th through 21st. 3 days of spectacular store-wide savings. All rings, all earrings, all pendants, all bracelets, all on sale. This is the biggest and last sale of the year. The one where they break all the rules. The selection is like double the norm. Designers are here with their entire line, all at the absolute lowest prices of the year, plus special financing next weekend. Details at diamondsdirect.com. At the shops at La Cantera.
It's the most wonderful time of the year at Twin Peaks, and when the weather turns cold, it's that holiday season. The parties are coming soon. Turn your annual holiday party up a notch and host it at Twin Peaks near you. An unforgettable experience that might be tougher to remember. Twin Peaks eats, drinks, and those scenic views.
Hit it!
The Dallas Cowboys, the Atlanta Falcons. This one will be a pad pounder. Get the call live Sunday at noon. Sponsored by AA Best Bail Bonds and Ewald Kubota, San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
San Antonio's home for sports talk is right here. San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Tomorrow we're going to be at Slackers at St. Mary's, their St. Mary's location, starting at 4 o'clock. Rock the Mic 2021 continues. Your chance to win Cowboys Raiders tickets tomorrow. Make sure you join us there. Make sure you wake up with R&R in the morning from 7 to 10. Rob Thompson and Rudy J. I'm off to Worst Fest. I need a pork chop on a stick in my life. We'll talk to you boys tomorrow.
Rock the Mic moves into the voting phase. 12 finalists, live auditions, and only one 2021 Rock the Mic winner.
Hi, this is Carolina Teague, the Rock the Mic 2 winner.
Vote for your favorite Rock the Mic champ now at sasportstar.com. And join us for the live auditions from Slacker Sports Bar throughout November. Only one will be crowned the 2021 Rock the Mic champion. Presented by Slacker Sports Bar and in part by Jim B. Rock the Mic